have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Spurs Five, back once again for your entertainment and Spurs pleasure. Unfortunately, we couldn't go live on Thursday, but we are live tonight. We will be back to normal next week, Monday and Thursday. Sean can't make it tonight because he went to the game, and by the time he gets back home, maybe he'll jump on towards the end of the show. Let's see. But Johnny's back after traveling around Asia. I'm sure he'll tell us a bit about that at some point. Good to see Johnny back. Got Lilywhite on the show tonight. Got two special guests we're going to bring in very shortly. Smash the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff down below. Your sporting apparel, as every channel does. OK Jersey, go and check them out. The code is 5 FIVE. Get your 8% discount at the checkout and show your love there. Another week. It's always drama. It's never simple. Here we go again. We will get into it. Very quickly, let's say hello to Lubo and Johnny. Very briefly, your initial takes. Don't make it too long because we've got two guests I want to bring on. So, Lubo, you're at the game. Just 1 minute. Just sum it up in a minute, and then we'll get into the show.
Better performance, very frustrating. We've left ourselves in a lot of trouble now. Those 2 points would have actually... Listen, we'd have still been in a mess, but not as big as of one. So... it's a shame we've now got to go to Wolves. We've got to get 3 points next week. And we rely now on Palace to beat West Ham, aren't we? So it was shame. It was a shame. Better, but not quite good enough.
Yeah, it's definitely out of our hands again. We'll get into it, Lubo. We'll discuss it. Johnny, welcome back. You how much you've had better?
Yeah, I mean, I literally flew back, and I came back late last night and felt absolutely chronic today, and I thought there's no way I got to go to the game. But listen, we were on life support before this game, and they're trying to resuscitate us, but unfortunately, I think that. That's like having a bit of a stroke, and we're still on life support. In fact, from the doctor's report, the situation has got worse, and he fears for the patient, which is Spurs, unfortunately. You know, we can pray for our recovery, but it ain't looking good.
I've got to say, Johnny, you sound like a gangster from East London who supports West Ham United.
I can't. Honestly, I'm really not good today. You're not good.
Sounds like he's part of the craze.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's one of the craze. Dyche.
Sean Dyche, yeah. Sean
Johnny Dyche.
Believe me,
Johnny Dyche in the house tonight.
You don't want to be me. Listen, look, as a glimmer, just as a glimmer, I'll just leave it on a positive. It was much better, right? That's all I can say. It was much better, but the bar is so fucking low that much better isn't, you know, it isn't great. You know, they're a Brighton team that are playing very well and going for Europe. So, you know, it isn't a bad result because what did you predict, Stel? Just out of curiosity.
We didn't do predictions this week. Totally forgot to do it.
I predicted 2-1 loss. So
Me too.
So I was, you know, was quite pleased with the point, but having watched the game, I felt like we should have got all three.
Well, look, let's bring in the guests, get the full panel on, and then we'll dissect it a bit deeper. So without further ado, I wonder who's going to be on the show tonight.
We got sleep.
We've got Dan E.
Do you know what's pretty interesting? thing about that still,
Sigh.
guess who's
Honestly.
coming? It'd be even a bigger surprise with the fact that I'm not even in that little reel.
It's all right. Neither am I.
So you need to take that with Sean Butler because he puts together all these cheesy artworks.
That's
This
fine.
has got
I'll get
nothing
him
to
to
do
do one
with
of my
us.
silly faces or something for his reel.
I'm sure AI. I'm sure we could put it into Claude and create something better. So we'll figure that out soon. But very quickly, look, sorry, let's start with you. How are you doing? How's things? And just a 1-minute synopsis of the game from your perspective before we get into it a bit deeper.
It's just it's a hard one to take really because you know there are, I'm sure we'll talk about in the show. There's quite a lot of positives that came from that game. It's just the kick in the teeth at the end there. So the consistency throughout this season is either not taking the chances or not having that concentration right till the very end. So it feels like a loss today, to an extent. It's a point on the board against a team that arguably many people said we wouldn't have got anyway. Yeah. Every game we keep saying it's a must win, it's a must win. Next week becomes another big must win. Yeah, it's a hard one to take today because I think the performance uplift was great. Just couldn't quite keep it together. So yeah, extremely frustrating.
Frustrating indeed. Dan, how you doing, bro? Good to have you back on. Hope everything's well. What's your quick thoughts on today's game?
Same Spurs, different day, isn't it? Frustrating game. I think we was the better team, and I think today blatantly showed why we should be playing men in midfield and not boys. Because the second that Bentancur came off and then the midfield started getting subbed up, it all fell to pieces in midfield. I don't think we had a bad game at all. I think we was respectable. It's just up front, we are not a threat. And Danzo, you got to feel half gutted for him because I think he had a brilliant game up until that moment where he either just hit that one too many times before he booted it or he didn't know the fella was sitting on his ass. It weren't the worst game I've seen us play. That's the annoying thing with it. I thought we were the better team.
Fair enough. Dan thinks we were the better team. Well, let's get into it then. Let's have a look at what happened today. The starting lineup was surprising. Kinski in goal because Vicario is recovering from his operation, but Danzo and Van de Ven starting at centre back. No surprise there because Romero is out for the season. Udogie and Porro, the two wing backs. And then in the midfield, it was a combination of Xavi Simons, who finally gets to start for Spurs. A lot of fans calling for him to start. Conor Gallagher keeps his place. Graham Bergvall drop. Bentancur, out of nowhere, makes a surprise return. And Bissouma starts as well. So a 4-man midfield, or some say that Simons played out on the left. And across the front was Mawani and Solanke on the bench. Dragusin, Paulinho, Richie, Maddison, who also is back for Tottenham. No one expected that to happen, although we knew he was back in training. Tell, Gray, Bergvall, Spence made up the bench. The score did finish 2-2, although it was 2-1 with 3 minutes to go. Unbelievable. The stats, Brighton had a lot more of the possession, 57% to 42%. Their XG was actually lower. Spurs had the better chances of the game. Shots, Spurs edged it. Shots on target, Spurs were much better. Big chances were equal, which is often a key kind of sign as to how good the quality of the chances were. Big chances missed were also equal. Spurs had more corners. Accurate passing is something I want to talk about today when it gets to my turn. Brighton outdid us there. And I think that was key in the game. And that shows in the passing accuracy. We picked up 3 yellow cards. They picked up 1. I don't know if that includes De Zerbi's yellow card because he got a yellow for constantly stepping out of his box, which I quite like because it means he's passionate and he's trying to help us win, in my opinion.
Hey,
but
Stel,
look, guys,
can I just... I'm just going to say, Stel, isn't it funny how, you know, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but from the last 5 or 6 games, maybe going back, I just feel that there's this glee, there's this, as much as most neutral fans don't want Arsenal to win the title, I think most neutral fans want Spurs to go down. And I just feel week after week that the referees have joined in the bandwagon. And I watch week in and week out as Mikel Arteta parades up and down the touchline, often on the pitch, waving his arms around as one of the opposition wingers runs past him, grabbing the balls and interfering with play. And he never gets booked. I saw him get booked the other night in the Champions League, but he never gets booked. Yet De Zerbi gets booked. Some of the decisions, it's not why we lost or drew, should I say, but the refereeing decisions that we've seen in the last few weeks have just cost us time and time and time again. Even in the first 10 minutes when players were pulled back, no yellow card, and you just knew it was going to be us that got the first yellow in that game. And I just think that we're not getting any rub of the green. You know, no penalties all season.
Johnny, do you know what I know you're not blaming the refs, but you know what the counter argument to that is going to be? The counter is going to be, if Danzo doesn't make that mistake, Spurs win 2-1, no one's going to be talking about the refs because we're going to be talking about we've got 3 points. But I'm not.
The game. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that I disagree with you, but that's going to be the counter, isn't it? But
no, 100%. I just feel I'm watching the game, and you know, it's him pulling his shirt back, blatant yellow card, blatant foul, nothing, and then you know we get a first yellow card.
Are you suggesting we got 2-tier refereeing?
I'm suggesting that continuously we have seen some extremely dubious refereeing going against us
London
as a club. You know, I mean, I had to laugh like we've taken a leaf out of Arsenal's book and wrote a letter to the PGMOL complaining about a whole series of decisions that have gone against us this season. Numerous. I'm not going to list them all here, but most of us will remember them if we tend to think back. And, you know, when we're talking about a point here or 3 points there, these decisions could be costly come the end of the season. They're not the reason why if we do go down, we're going down.
So they're pretty irrelevant, Johnny. Come on, man. But referees over here are unstable. Go to Italy, go to Germany.
I know,
but
I'm fed up seeing it. It's
shocking. I get what you're saying, but it's pretty irrelevant at the end of the day because it hasn't cost us anything really. We are in a relegation zone because the players have been shit, the managers have been shit, and the club is a total throw up. I get what you're saying. Refs are inconsistent and that, but it's one of those things. It is what it is. They are not the reason we are in this position.
Let's bring it back to the game, right? It's like there's in the starting lineup because when you saw that starting lineup, what was your initial thoughts of number one, Xavi Simons starting, number two, Bentancur being given a starting position, having not played for God knows how many months, Maddison on the bench, and then a slight change of formation because to me it felt like we went with 4 midfielders, even though I felt Simons played off the left, but we didn't go with the traditional front three like a Richie, Tell, Solanke, Moani type combo between 3 of them. What were your thoughts on those things when you saw the starting lineup?
Who started with me? What did I think?
Yeah, go for it.
Listen, I was pleased Bentancur was back. I was pleased Bentancur-Basuma midfield partnership, I was told last night, and you think to yourself, do you know what, that's pretty good. Basuma, you don't always know what you're going to get with him, but back end of last season, you know, leading up to the Europa League final, he put in a lot of good performances. So for me, I was pleased with that midfield. I was pleased Simons was brought back in. I'll sort of come on to him in a minute because he was a bit hero and villain today. I thought he's going to stick with that back four, it appears. Kinski obviously ahead of Austin. I thought Kinski deserved that after his performance at Sunderland last week. And the front two, I thought he might play Richie. I didn't think Solanke had done much over the last few weeks to warrant his place. But he's obviously going for more technical players. And he obviously felt Moani could do something, although, again, he's been poor the last few weeks as well. So for me, it was a better team, and I think you saw a better performance today. So for me, no complaints. It wasn't one of those where I looked at it and thought, why isn't he playing? Why isn't he playing? We had that at Sunderland. He picked a surprising team. Today, I thought he got it right. So good for
Would
me.
you? Can I ask you, Lubo? Do you think Paulinho should be starting games? Because I do.
100%.
And
Yeah,
you
go on,
would
Johnny.
play. You play Paulinho with Bentancur.
Yeah, 100%.
Who would you drop for Paulinho as well? Go on, Johnny. Talk to us about it.
No, the reason. I mean, Paulinho came on, and within 2 seconds, he had a shot on goal that made the keeper had to make a save. The funny thing is, he's the guy that trains the best, and yet he's a lone player. He's a guy that's scored. He's one of our top goal scorers. He's our top tackler, right? And yet he struggles to get a game. I think it's kind of strange. I think, when push comes to shove, when we're talking about experience, winners, people who've done it, I think he should be starting ahead of Basuma personally. But I would be playing him and Gallagher or Basuma and Paulinho with Bentancur personally. At least he should be getting more minutes. That's my opinion. I think Bentancur was absolutely superb again today, and all those people who were complaining that he shouldn't have got a contract need to look at his performance there today to see what a difference he made to the team and the difference he made to the team when he was removed. But Paulinho, along with Bentancur, I think would be a more solid partnership, especially when we go to play the likes of Villa and Chelsea. I would think when we go to play Wolves, I can see the argument of not playing maybe Paulinho and go for a more attacking option.
Do you think it was a bit of a risk to bring two midfield players in who hadn't had any minutes for several months in the same game?
Yeah, but he wanted battlers, then he wanted fighters, and it certainly did the trick. I mean, look, the bar is very low. I said this back, before we came on air. The bar's very low, but I thought this was an encouraging performance and one of the best performances moving the ball forward for probably since Man City, in the Premier League. And I'm like Si said, I absolutely gutted. It's a kick in the teeth, but I think most people were saying they're going to score in those last few minutes. I thought we deserved more, and we didn't get it. Unfortunately, football is what it is, and you don't always get what you deserved. And we should have finished our dinner. And as Dan said before, we're not clinical enough up front, and that's going to be one of the reasons why we go down if we do get relegated.
Sorry, when you saw the starting lineup and what you saw from the players that did start, what was your view on that? Did anyone really impress you? Did you feel let you down? Were you happy with the starting lineup? Would you have started Paulinho? Do you think it was right to play Moani again when he's not really done anything ever? What's your thinking?
Yeah, I guess hindsight's obviously an important factor. I think it's great that Bentancur was back in. Is he good enough in general for Tottenham moving forward? Maybe not. There's an argument against that, but let's be realistic and say pretty much the whole team is in that boat right now as a question mark. What I did see today was a lot more calmness in the midfield, which he kind of naturally brings to an extent anyway. And not so much because he's slower. I just think he's maybe a bit more technical than some of the other players. Obviously a bit more experience. So if you were going to put a player next to him, I would probably have Paulinho in there, to be honest. Just from that trust mechanism of him being able to go forward a bit more. But yeah, the one that always have a question mark is Moani. I don't understand logically or tactically or anything why he is chosen as a starter. I don't understand. Okay, we could argue there's not many other players that are massively better, but there are a couple that we know are in those positions, or maybe naturally in those positions, and maybe players that need to have more and more experience, better game time. I allude to perhaps like Tell, as I said, not an amazing player, obviously still very young, still a lot to learn, a lot of time ahead of him, and you're not going to get that unless you play. But Moani, for me, and I'm not just talking about this game, I'm talking about pretty much most of his games, I feel like we're just playing with 10 men most of the time. It's almost like we have to have two players covering that position, whether it's defensive or attacking. Granted, he has a couple of moments here and there that are good, but I think this was a game, if you were going to test the water with players that are coming back from long-term injuries and maybe switching things around a bit, I would have thought that he would have done it across the board a bit more. But as I said, hindsight's one of those things. We had some good spells in that game where you could think that maybe these were good choices overall. And ultimately, there were other players outside of Moani and Bentancur and Paulinho who were responsible for some of the mistakes for the goals. I don't really have many qualms with that team selection in the beginning. I have a partial kind of maybe question mark around the substitutions, whether it be the quantity of them or the timing, I'm not sure. But I felt like we were bringing on players that weren't going to change a game, naturally for the better, like push us forward a bit more. So that's the only kind of like two aspects I pick out. But overall, I think there were definitely improvements in this game, considering what we've seen in the past.
Sorry, can I ask you a question on that? Right? I'm the host, devil's advocate, right? That's what you got to do when you're host.
Sure.
Have we seen something different, or do we need to wait a couple of games? And the reason I say this is because when we came back from Man City 2-0 down to get a 2-2, we said we'd turned the corner. When we got a 1-1 draw at Anfield, we said we've turned the corner. When we beat Atletico Madrid 3-2, could have been 4-2, we said we've turned the corner. And then after each of those games, we follow it up with just chaos and disaster. Because the Sunderland game, the second half was shocking. Today, much better. Totally agree with you. Do we need to wait another couple of games before we say, hold on, this is better, and it's not just another flash in the pan moment where we just get excited for no reason?
Well, we haven't got many games left to test that theory too much. But I would say I've seen more today, like overall, especially like there was a bit more energy. There was a lot better pressing and very much more high up the pitch. I think that becomes a lot more exciting. And it was clear as day, especially with the second goal, how that press can really make a difference and catching people on the back foot. Doing this with like 5 or 6 games left is ridiculous. It should be something that's minimal from a team at Premier League level, but we are where we are. So I have definitely seen improvements. I've also seen the lack of concentration at critical times, and I've also seen maybe a lack of that final third lucrative aspects of getting the ball in the back of the net when it really should be, or at least having that moment where it should be on target or a chance to shoot. Those things will come in time. The chances are coming. But those are the reasons, those are the kind of key principles throughout this season where I'm kind of sitting here thinking we don't deserve to stay up, just from the principle of how we've been playing throughout the whole season. Irrespective of some snippets today, the fact that we couldn't concentrate and just stabilize ourselves for small amounts of time. And how many times have we seen this when it's nearly half time, maybe 1 or 2 up? Just hold on. We're doing it at half time. We're doing it at full time. We can't do it. And when you're doing that too many times, I don't see why we deserve to stay up at this moment in time. Well, for a long time. So it's a difficult one to answer because I have seen a slight improvement today, but we haven't got games to go, oh, let's wait a couple of games, see if it keeps, creeping in. though we lacked the 2 points today. This is a really significant 2 points, and we'll see maybe the fruition of that.
Do you
come
know what's
Monday.
significant about today that a lot of fans aren't mentioning? And I was on a channel after the game and I had my say. And Dan, let me take this to Dan actually. For a number of weeks, we've watched the others play and then it's over to you, Tottenham. And they've either won or got some kind of point on the board and they put us under pressure. This is the first weekend in a long time where Spurs have played first. So we've played, we've picked up a point, but we remain in the bottom three. So now Forest and West Ham play next, knowing if they both lose, they stay above Tottenham. So the pressure's off them a little bit and they can play with a bit more freedom. Do you think today's result, like Simon said, it's costly? Do you think it's psychologically as well costly in the sense that our main rivals that we're battling for not get relegated, we've just given them a massive boost to go out and put in a shift, knowing that whatever they do, they will be above Tottenham come Monday morning?
No, I don't think it has. Basically, they need to win whether we won today, draw today, or lost today. They still need to win to get as many points as they can to keep clear of us. If they don't go and get a result, then we're still only a point behind them, basically. So they need to get the result no matter what. Yeah, I know, but they still need to get the result to get some distance on us. It's out of our hands, basically. Even if we go and win every game of the season now, if the others go and do it, we're still going down. But they need to get some momentum on it and get a bit of distance from us as well. Because the situation we're in at the moment, do I think we're done? Yes, I think it's too little too late from us. But in a matter of 2 games, that whole system can change around between Spurs and West Ham. Will it? I don't think so. Can it? Of course it can. So I still think the same pressure is on them to an extent that they want to get as much distance from us as possible, or it should be. Because if they just look over their shoulder and just say, oh, well, if we lose, we're still ahead of them, more mug them at the end of the day, because that's a very bad attitude to go into it with. Same attitude of going into the game not to lose is not a good idea, because you usually end up losing that game instead of going in for the draw, don't you? So I don't really think it makes much difference to them whether we won, lost, or draw today. They've still got to go 100% for that next game to get the momentum on us. So on that one, no, I don't really think it makes a difference. Maybe it takes a little bit of pressure off their back, but either way, they got to be going for a win. They want to get as many points on us as possible. And just quick thing I want to put on about the Paulinho thing not starting. With the way we played today, I don't think you can have him and Bentancur start together. It's got to be one or the other. The way I saw that today is we basically played 4 at the back and then 3 in midfield, but with the midfield, instead of an attacking midfielder, we used more of a DM sort of style player. And you can only have one for that, Paulinho or Bentancur, depending how you want it done, because they both do the job in a different way. I've been telling people for years, Bentancur played as a DM at Juventus and done a nice job of it as well. He just plays the role very different to Paulinho would. Paulinho play it as more of an anchor man. So playing them together, if you're going to play that way, no. Because then you need 2 people who can press that ball high forward. And Gallagher and Basuma are probably the best 2 we've got at it. Gray don't do the job, and he don't hack it in defensive midfield either.
Well, what if you didn't, Dan? What if you didn't play with 2 up top, Mwani and Solanke? You just played with 1, then you can play with Bentancur and Paulinho.
Yeah, of course you can. But I'm talking about how we played today.
Okay.
If you change the formations,
fair enough.
Things, of course you can. If I'm going to have 2 in the middle, and I just want a stable, solid midfield that's going to soak up a bit of crap and get it forward, then for me it's Bentancur, Paulinho. But Bentancur don't do no running. He's not a runner. And definitely with the injuries he's had, one thing he does do very well is read the game very well. He has his moment of madness where he gets on his phone, basically. And he used to do that at Juventus, where the ball used to literally roll past his foot for a second. He's always done that. But in general, he's a very stable player, very cool, calm, calculated, gets his bit done, gets rid of the ball. And that's one thing I think we've definitely noticed over the past 3 months that we have not had. And that is any sort of stability in that sort of midfield. It's always been chaos. It's like today, everybody knew their place in midfield. Gallagher and Basuma knew what they were there for. They went and done it. I'm not saying that Basuma had a great game, but I think he had a respectable game. It doesn't have to be so black and white. And Bentancur, I think he was probably our best player on the pitch, either him or Danzo, until he came off. And the second he came off, you saw it started to fall to pieces in midfield. Then Basuma comes off, Gallagher comes off, and we're back to our usual lot. And the whole thing just fell to any sort of control we had in midfield, just totally went from there.
Dan, I disagree. I thought we started the second half badly, right? And you when you look at these stats, okay, when you look at these stats, and I wanted to bring this up again, that passing accuracy stat, completely 100 passes off of Brighton. What I saw was every time we tried to go forward second half, it was like a misplaced pass, an overhit pass, or the pass got to the destination and then the player on the ball, the second touch was too heavy and we lost possession. And because he lost possession, Brighton just coming back and back and back. And that was with Bentancur and all the others on the pitch.
That's why he made those
weren't doing
subs.
that. Bentancur wasn't doing that. He didn't make the subs because of that. He made those subs because Bentancur was absolutely knackered, and so was Basuma.
that's what
They
I'm
hadn't played
saying,
for
but he
nearly
made
4
them.
months.
I'm saying he made.
Bentancur didn't lose that ball. Bentancur did
No.
not lose that ball. He got it, passed it forward. It's the others when they pressed up that they lost the ball.
And as
Bentancur
a team
done good job.
collectively, as a team collectively, Johnny, I'll come to you. As a team collectively, I thought the second half.
I'm agreeing with Dan. Sorry, just to say, Dan, I was agreeing with you. What I was saying was I felt that De Zerbi, what Stel was saying, I agree with Stel that we started that second half quite badly and we were losing the ball far too often. And I think quite early on, I was surprised how early the subs came in, and it was a mixture of Bentancur tiring and we losing that ball too often in the middle of the park. And I think he was forced into those substitutions. The question is, were they the right substitutions at the right at that time?
Fair question.
What do you reckon, Stel?
Well, I think Basuma came off after 57 minutes. I would have brought Polini on instead of Gray, to be honest.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
I think he went wrong there, and that would have just sort of solidified it a bit, because Brighton did have they had the early pressure, didn't they, in the second half?
Yeah.
Without creating too much, but we sort of sat back and we let them play a little bit.
But Lugo, didn't we sit back because we couldn't keep the ball and we kept giving it to them and inviting them on? Because that's what I saw.
Passing wasn't as good. I think
Was it?
Yeah,
I don't think we deliberately dropped back. I felt we couldn't keep the ball, and we allowed Brighton, who, by the way, Brighton's a good team. They can play football. We allowed a good team on the ball to come on to us, and it naturally.
I don't think they were much better at keeping the ball either. I think for the first 5 minutes of the second half, they definitely come out better than the first half and had the pressure right on us.
Dan, they had 300 more accurate passes.
But I'm not talking about passes.
They kept that ball better than us in that second half.
And I've got to tell you,
but they lost it as many times as we did with the man on the ball as well. That's how we got our second goal as well. They weren't much better at that side. Passing overall, they've done a lot more of it. But they lost the ball as much as we did.
I thought Spurs looked better on the ball in the first half compared to the second half.
So do I.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and I would say, what Si mentioned before, the way this club, this team moves around, confidence from a confidence point of view is quite shocking. That goal went in the end of that first half and their heads went down and I was fuming, come on, it's half time, and we came out in that second half. Whatever De Zerbi said to them, they were still carrying that first half late goal with them into the game, and it was if that mentally that they didn't think they were going to do anything. And I think that's why the over celebration took place. And we've seen only once in the entire season have we conceded a goal and won a game. Once in the entire season. And I was there, Leeds away. It's the only time we've conceded a goal and won a game. And I
Johnny,
think
I want to ask you something. Johnny, I want to hold on a minute. I want to ask you something, and then I want everyone else's opinion on this. Okay, this conceding goals just before half time, just before the end, something we've seen all season long. Si brushed on it earlier on when he was having his chat about today's game, and today the big conversation is going to go across all the YouTube and podcast channels is, we bottled it at the end, or we didn't have the mental strength to stay focused. Danzo, why didn't you just clear it? Matoma's goal, no one marking him back post. Defenders. I want to ask you a question. We slag off our defending, and rightly so. But is it fair to constantly blame the defending when up front we are toothless? And let me explain something. Right, 3 games ago we played Forest, not a single goal. The last game we played before today was against Sunderland, not a single goal. Today, take Xavi Simons off the pitch. There is not a single goal in that game. Mawani, Solanke, Richie, Tell, whoever you pick, they offer us absolutely fuck all. So what's
it's hard to be worse though than Tell. Listen, Mawani. Look,
Johnny, hold on a minute, hold on. Whichever player you want to pick on, or give a bit of a pass to, it doesn't bother me. The point I'm trying to make is, we as a fan base, we keep saying, oh, the defenders, oh, they switched off, oh, Romero did this, oh, Van der Ven this, oh, Danzo that. But we're expecting our defenders to win the games every single week by defending when the attackers do absolutely nothing up the other end. And without Xavi Simons on the pitch, Johnny, we've got nothing. Should we not be looking at the attack as much as the defence when we do our criticisms and our analysis?
Yeah, I mean, look, I bemoan the fact that I thought that Solanke, he won headers, he won, but how did he affect the game? I don't feel he affected the game. And, you know, I think I got a lot of criticism in my posters on my walkout. But that's how I saw it. I'm not saying Richie is better, but I felt like his legs had gone or he was knackered from all the running. And I just think that De Zerbi got some of those subs wrong. But I hear your point. I don't think Mawani, listen, I'll be honest with you, right? As you well know, Stel, Lubo, I've watched Mawani over a number of years, and I always thought that he was a top player, and I'd expected him to be doing a lot better. He's been absolutely shocking. And I don't think he should have been starting today. Richie today would have been battling for every ball. How he never got a minute today in the game, I'm just not quite understanding. I really don't. But the level is just not good enough. And you got to be scoring goals. If you're conceding as often as we do, if you're not scoring goals, you're going to end up where we are. And it shouldn't be a fucking surprise, okay? We finished 17th last season, and this board have done absolutely nothing to eradicate it. I just got to go and answer the door. What's it?
I was thinking, is that Johnny's doorbell or is
I think it's your doorbell going on in the background.
Guys, look, on that note again, today, I'll say it. I could easily go in on Danzo, right? Because I don't like Danzo. I don't want him at Tottenham. I personally think he's an average defender. I'm happy to have that debate with anyone. But I'm not going to blame it on Danzo today. And I'll tell you why I'm not blaming it on him. That forward line did dog shit yet again. And even when Tell came on, nothing changed. And you know what? And I stick to what I say. You take Simons off the pitch, there's nothing. Bentancur's not scoring. Gallagher's not scoring. Gray's not. Gray 2-2 goes in on goal and he shoots straight into the goalie's hands. How can you be a
Was
midfielder?
that a shot? Was that even a shot?
Dan, how can you be a midfielder at this club and that is your effort on goal? But it's not just him.
We don't have any strikers though. We don't have strikers.
Sorry, talk to me about this. Is it fair to constantly criticise our defenders when the front line offers nothing to support the defenders by actually putting the ball in the back of the net?
I think it's the whole team. The whole team is on a level par with this topic because, from that defensive perspective, there is constant lack of concentration, but you have to put that in ratio and some form of reality as well, in the sense that why is the defense having so much pressure all of the time? That can also lead from the conversation about midfield. Why are they not holding it correctly? Why are they not moving forward correctly, holding possession correctly? Then when you get to that final third, which is your point up front, I mean, Richarlison's got 8 or 9 goals this season.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I think Johnny's not feeling well and he needs to leave. So Let me just
Oh,
push up
Just,
the night.
just to say, guys, I'm sorry, guys. I just feel absolutely like dog shit.
Yeah, bless
World
you.
War Z.
but-
Go to bed, mate.
I'm going to go to bed. It's not Tottenham that's made me ill. But listen, guys, we go again. Wolves. It's not looking good, but it could be worse. We just got to pray tomorrow. The only way out of this is somehow West Ham get beat against Palace, and Man City do us a nice favour tomorrow to make that weekend that bit sweeter, because I'm sure some amongst you have had messages from Arsenal fans this evening. So good night, all. Come on, you
I feel
Spurs.
better,
We
mate.
go again at Wolves, mate.
Wish you better. Thanks for coming
Get
on.
some
Scott.
rest.
Cheers. There we go.
Johnny, get well soon. Sorry, mate. Back to you. We're talking about the strikers and
that's
whatnot.
more important. We don't have strikers. We don't have hold up play. We don't have this luxury this season. And actually, Johnny alluded to a lot of the facts of the last few seasons, pointing the fingers at the board where we haven't fulfilled those. You can't replace Kane. Let's be realistic here, but you can certainly do better with the choices that have come in over a long period of time. Again, hindsight, I would have had Richarlison up front over Solanke. I think Richarlison overall this season has been better, but it's very, very minimal, differences that we're talking about. Because if you take Richarlison out of this, we're talking about both our centre halves being the next top scorers. Can we just allude to that really quickly, in the sense that we are talking about the fact that none of our strikers, apart from Richarlison, who's got the 8 or 9, have got more goals than our centre backs. This is a hideous situation that we found ourselves throughout this entire season. I don't know where our goals come from midfield, and they don't seem to know either. Xavi, with the Madrid game and the goal today was absolutely unbelievable. He definitely has an ability to wake a game up and score where possible, and even outside the box. Finally, players are having shots from different angles, but that definitely is again the point about saying we don't deserve to stay up earlier. Also concludes that point from the fact that we just don't have the players that are good enough to be staying up, in my opinion, across the board. So you work from the front backwards, and you can work from the back forwards. It all relates to the same ultimate problem, is the fact that no one's covering each other. We can't hold the ball properly for more than a fair few consecutive passes. I mean, the amount of times, if I was to look away from I mentioned this, I think in the last stream, or even on the watch long at We Are Tottenham TV the other week. Every time I feel like if I was to look away for 5 seconds and go back to the screen, we wouldn't be in possession again. It feels like all the time. And when that happens, we're still not structurally correct yet. That will be worked on, and I do think it has improved slightly today. That flows through. So then we put the pressure on, and then when you're putting more and more pressure on, that ratio number rises significantly, a risk factor of more things are possible to go wrong. And that's what happens. Lo and behold, that is what happened right at the end, because we can't sustain it.
Up front is our biggest problem. I mean, in opinion, I think defensively today, I think we looked more stable than we have done for ages. I think Danzo has a lot more consistency to offer than what Romero does. I mean, everyone knows my opinion on Romero. I think he's the most overrated Spurs player we've ever had. One of the most inconsistent as well. Sometimes you need a player like Danzo in that defence, no nonsense centre back, get the ball, kick it out, not get the ball and then decide to walk up the pitch with it or do whatever. Sometimes you just need a bland player that would just do his bloody job. And apart from that bit he got wrong at the end, I think our defence looks more stable. I think our midfield looked 100 times better, which I'm not saying was even great, than what it has done over the past 15 games. It blatantly showed today why you need men in there and not boys, why you need experience in there and not kids that have played a bit of Premier League football for a year. it blatantly showed that, because as soon as the men came off and the boys came on, the whole thing went to pieces. Up front, again, we've got nothing to offer. Simmons is the only one who's got anything to offer, and he's been pretty shit all season as well. Let's be honest here. This was his second Premier League goal? Second?
Yeah.
There you go. And it's also been the third manager that's actually left him out, because the previous two managers, like, didn't seem to want to touch him that much, same as they have with Paulinho for some reason. Again, I find that a bit of a strange one, but let's just be honest. But Simmons, if we want to create any chemistry or anything, you've got to have Simmons on there if you're not going to have Maddison on there, because there's nothing else to create anything on there.
And that,
I mean,
that's
this whole team, there's no chemistry. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On paper, player for player, I don't think this is the worst Spurs team I've ever seen, player for player. Up front, dog shit, but rest of it, no. But as a team, it is the worst Spurs team I've ever seen play together. There is no chemistry there whatsoever. Nothing. If anyone used to play FIFA, you'll understand what I mean, where sometimes you had to leave your star player out just to get your player in there who had a bit of chemistry to make it work around the pitch. We haven't got it. Apart from Maddison, and the next closest thing to it is Simmons. And even he's shit at the end of the day, bar maybe a moment here and there. His whole season, he's been pretty poor as everybody else. And he's had a good game or a good moment here and there. But you can't just hold that to him. The whole team has been like it.
Yeah,
if anything, probably our best player, consistent player, every time he's come on, we haven't been playing him consistently. Paulinho. But that's been three managers that have done that with him now as well. So does it go down deeper to his fitness? Doesn't he fit into a style of play? I don't know. But at the end of it all, I think today we looked a lot more solid in midfield. We looked a lot more solid at defence. And up front, again, bar a magical moment off of Simmons, we really don't have nothing to offer unless they give it to us on a plate. Bergvall done a very good job of getting the ball back. First time I see him do things and actually deliver a pass on the end of it.
Can I say regarding Xavi Simmons, right? He started in 11 of Tottenham's 12 wins in all competitions. Coincidence? He certainly has an influence in positive outcomes when he's on the pitch. When he's not on the pitch, we find that we have 95% negative outcomes. So just based on that stat alone, he should be starting every game, because we get most of our joy when he plays.
Because there's no one else there still. But he's been shit all season. Let's be real. He scored 2 Premier League goals.
Yeah, we could say, but hold on. For me, I think he's been one of the most mismanaged players at Tottenham.
I agree.
Every manager. The same way that I feel Bergvall has been badly mismanaged for 2 years, I think Xavi Simmons has been badly mismanaged since he's been at Tottenham. I could say that for a few players, but
I don't think his physicality helps him either. When you've got weaker players around you, like Gray and Bergvall and Tell and Odegaard, who get knocked flying, it don't help.
I think Simmons is physically stronger than what fans realise. Yeah, I do. I think he's actually a tough little nut. Right. My only criticism of him is, and it's the only thing I would call him up on, is there's times where he's very soft in either shutting down or putting a block in on a player, and he allows players sometimes just to pull away from him too easily, where he should show a bit more aggression. That's the only little criticism I'll give of him. I don't think he's world class, by the way, or anything special in the sense of, wow, he's the next Kevin De Bruyne. But let me tell you something. That goal he scored today wasn't too different from the one from Atletico Madrid. He's got that in his locker. And that assist today, the weight on that dink, mate, if that was Christian Eriksen, we'd be saying, what a ball. That was Christian Eriksen-esque. Now, I'm not saying it's Christian Eriksen before people come for me and all that, but I think there's a good player in him. And Dan, let's see, De Zerbi's the kind of coach he needs. He needs that type of coach to get it.
I can believe that. I'm just talking about what I've seen this season, and he's been pretty bog standard, to say the best, and that's being nice. There's been games where I've seen him on that it might say that we've done better with him on the pitch. At times we have, but then there's plenty of other games I've seen him play on the pitch and he's been totally irrelevant and you don't even know he's there. So I do agree that maybe it's his season to settle into the Premier League. Well, it looks like he's only going to get this season. He's off again anyway. But when it comes down to the crunch, he hasn't been really no better than anybody else. But I do agree he's got to start because he's the only chemistry we've got there. If we haven't got Maddison, we haven't got no other creative player. We've got about the only other positive midfielder we've got who actually passes the ball forward is actually Benton Core. Whereas you go and look at the stats of the other players, they don't even pass the ball forward.
Else scores. And
no, I agree.
Scores goals.
It's like you look at Bergvall, bar today, where you actually saw something off of him getting the ball. His stats say it all. As all he does is run forward with a ball, and then he loses it. No pass, no cross, no shot, no nothing. Today, he managed to get the ball back and pass it. Great. But that's the first time he does that out of 1,000 attempts. Archie Gray gets forward with a ball. What does he do? Stop. Even though there's a man right in front of him, he looks behind him, passes it 5 yards back every time. Maybe bar the odd one here and there. And Paulinho, he's not one for pressing forward either. He's one for going sideways. He's an out-and-out defence player a lot of the time, but he can get forward. The most positive midfielder we've got who actually passes the ball forward is either Bentancur or maybe even Basuma. Gallagher likes to run it forward, but one who actually passes it forward, Bentancur's about the only one who does it consistently.
But you know the problem, Dan, just linking up what you guys were saying about the strikers with what Cy was saying before about it's the whole team, is that the strikers, that the guys that up front have been poor this season.
Yeah.
But they've had no service as well. They haven't, have they? You know, what have they had? In all fairness, what did they get today? There's very little. In fact, the best ball of the match was Solanke's curling ball into Simmons when he should have buried the game at 2-0 a minute after Porro scored.
He hit the post, didn't he?
Yeah, should have buried it. Sidestepped his play beautifully. Should have buried that.
The lack of service
would have been a different game, wouldn't it?
I can go with the lack of service to an extent.
Yeah, but you could say Brighton.
These...
You could have said Brighton could have gone. Sorry, 1 second, Dan. Yeah, but you say it's a different game, but Brighton could have gone 1-0 up when they hit the post. And it went across the goal line and it didn't hit.
Yeah.
Brighton could have gone 1-0 up, couldn't they? Today they were unlucky in the early.
Yeah.
Lack of service, I can agree with that, yeah. But then you can say there's been lack of everything. You could turn around and say the keeper's been so shit because the defence has been so shit. The defence has been so shit because the midfield have been so shit. Let's just be real. This whole team, bar maybe 1 or 2 players, has had a shambolic season in every which way. It's just up front. Even if they got the service up front, they're still going to miss 80% of their chances because they're that crap.
You know what was it? You know what's encouraging though?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
What's encouraging under De Zerbi is that listen, we've been giving away goals for fun. We've been giving away shots for fun. The last 2 games, these 2 games under De Zerbi, we've only conceded 5 shots on goal. Unfortunately, 3 of them have gone in. But it's much less. 2 last week, 3 this week is much less than it has been all season. So it seems that he is organising defensively. They seem to be in a better shape, more organised, better structure. And you can see things are improving. Whether it's too late or not,
Too late, isn't it?
But Lubo, do you know why that is? Do you know why we're conceding less shots? I don't think it's because we're defensively more organised. I think it's because he actually attacks and doesn't allow the other teams just to constantly come at us and we sit. Frank was really pragmatic. Tudor was pretty much pragmatic as well. De Zerbi's more, let's attack. Let's try and attack. And I think that's what it is.
We've had less possession both matches, haven't we?
Less possession doesn't mean you have less attack. It means you keep the ball less.
Right.
Who cares about possession? Really? Who cares about possession?
I'm just saying, both oppositions have had the ball much more than us. It was 57 this week, 61.
That's not a bad thing,
was it? So, but listen, we've defended well. You know, they got back into shape after losing the ball, and unfortunately, we lose the ball far too much. We haven't got enough technical players.
I don't think we defend well, Lubo. I don't think we defend well.
You don't.
Today, I thought we'd done respectable defending wise. There was plenty of times where we got the ball and when in doubt, kick it out. And that is one thing I think we've definitely slacked all season, because it does come down to at times where you just need to be old school and toe punt the ball up the other end of the pitch to give yourself a couple of seconds breathing space. Fine, they get it back, come at you, but you've got some breathing space. Instead of trying some little twinkle toes thing and trying to run it out your bloody box, sometimes just toe punt the bloody thing. Get rid of it. And that is one thing that we were doing today when it came to that, and it's the thing that Danzo got wrong at the end when he'd been doing it brilliantly the whole game. I thought he had an extremely good game, except for that last moment.
There was one ball in that he headed clear virtually off his goal line with after about 85, 86 minutes. That was just superb. The guy had a free header.
There was a challenge from him, that sliding challenge. Can't remember what minute that was as well. I mean, I think structurally we were looking better, but it's that concentration element that lacks in certain individuals at the right moment. And it's almost like it's a bit of a difficult one, because you could have like maybe 9 great situations in a game, but it's the one that you make the mistake on that becomes the most costly. And everyone makes mistakes, but it's the manner of the mistakes. I mean,
they do switch off.
The Porro situation for me in the first half, I've seen it all season. It's not a surprise to me. Yeah. But when you're structurally looking at, the team's looking better today, and then the ball comes over, Matuma's volley, unbelievable, but he was also unmarked. Where was the player on him? And that was Porro's position.
Correct.
So it's literally one of those situations like we've seen pretty much in every game. Albeit, I would say the last 2 games have been slightly better structurally, especially today. It's those concentration moments that are costing us and have costed us all season. Where we could sit here all day long talking about what may have improved, not improved, but the ultimate thing at the end of the day is individual concentration problems like that, which have cost us the 2 goals.
Yeah, basically. I think the other occasion where they switched off, Brighton took a quick free kick in the first half where Welbeck cut across for the header that went straight to Kinski. And listen, for me personally, Simmons should have made it 2-0, but by the same token, it could have been 4-1 down at half time, because you had the header that was it header or shot that hit the post, went along the line. You had Welbeck's run across, I just mentioned, and you also had the header that was the last action of the first half. See how close that header was to the far post. It was like inches, wasn't it? And we could have gone in 4-1 down, but it was a better performance. But the problem is, and it all comes back, the players just collectively as a team, we just haven't been good enough this season.
Do you know? I've got a different take on this. I don't think Spurs were good today. Listen, I'll say it. I don't think we were good today. What I think we were today was we actually showed that we were ready to fight, and we showed fight. And in the attacking third, we were looking for that, because Brighton played a bit of a high line. We were looking for that. We were looking constantly, especially in the first half, for that ball to penetrate between their lines. And once or twice we got in, and we looked better because we broke through their defense. But then once we broke through, we did absolutely nothing with it, because we're diabolical in the final third. So because we're not used to seeing these things, when we see them, we think, oh, this is good. But because the bar's low, if you lift it a few pegs up, you think really good. It's not.
No,
we in my opinion, watching us play today, especially that second half, the amount of times we're giving the ball away, I thought we were better than normal. I don't think we were brilliant, but
no.
I thought a draw was fair in terms of what I saw from both teams. But you just feel gutted as a Spurs fan, because when you're 3 minutes away from a win, to not win it, it's almost like, for crying out loud, are we this weak mentally? And I said the same thing in the Super Cup final. I'm being consistent. To not have won that with being 2-0 up, with 8 minutes to go, I just it's the mentality of us. It's the mentality of players. Like Simon says, there's always someone that switches off when you need them just to stay focused for an extra 10 seconds. They just switch off, and you think, oh, what's the point, you know?
I agree with what you've said. Go on. I agree with what you said, but I do find at Tottenham it either has to be very black or white. You're either shit or you're good or you're quality. There seems to be no in between.
Dan, I'm not saying shit. Dan, I'm not saying shit.
No, I know
just
that.
don't
I'm not
think
saying you.
it's
I'm
good
saying
because
in general, yeah. No, I don't think. I think we had, in general, bar up front, I think the rest of the team had a respectable game today. And I think there's about 3 players you can say on there say they genuinely had a good game. That you would have said any game that would have been a good performance by them. I do agree that many a time we have just looked that absolute poor. We've played that little bit better, and people are all of a sudden saying we're playing good. I think it was a bit of a bigger difference than that. I don't think it was just we were that little bit better than usual, so it looked great. I think we actually had a respectable game today, and some players actually had a good game today. Where it mattered really at the end, where we just looked poor as ever, was up front. That midfield looked significantly, without a doubt. But that midfield didn't just look a little bit better than what it usually does. It looked, to me, that looked light years ahead of what it's looked for the past 15 games. I think that was a bit more of a difference than, we played okay, so it looks quality. I thought that midfield looked world class compared to what it has done over the past 10, 15 games.
Yeah, because the bar's low.
I think
the bar's low.
Yeah, but I do think either way, the bar is low. But I think you can say some players on there had a good game.
Yeah,
if
no, I
we weren't
agree.
in this
I agree with you.
position
I
that
agree.
we
I
needed
agree.
those 3 points so much, and this would happen in the middle of a season, you could turn around and say that wasn't our worst game. It weren't bad. It definitely weren't bad. It weren't great, but it was an okay game.
Listen,
it was all
Dan,
right.
let me. Do you know what? Let me say this, and I'll bring it to Sava. If we blew a 2-1 lead with 3 minutes to go, and Tudor or Frank was the manager, there'll be murders out there, right? I'm just saying, if they were the manager and that happened, there'll be murders out here. I believe if we play like that today, which I said I don't think it was great, but there was something there. If we play like that against Wolves away, I think we beat them. I think we actually beat them. I actually think we beat them. I've just watched them get whooped. 4-0 by West Ham, 3-0 by Leeds. If Spurs put up that fight against Wolves, I think we beat them. Sava, welcome to the show. Thanks for the raid as well earlier. I'm sure you've already given your explanation 100 times on your channel, but can you repeat it just one more time for us here?
I thought it was better today. It was much better today. I think the problem we've got is I truly believe that the squad is that bad that I don't know what people are expecting. So when people are saying we give the ball away a lot, the passing still isn't good, why are any of you surprised? We don't have ball playing midfielders. We don't have technically good players. Why is everyone still expecting us to not give the ball away? Doesn't matter. You can change the manager. Doesn't suddenly make all these players good footballers, right? What we saw today, and I think Danny had it absolutely spot on. I've been watching while munching my my Papa John's. Danny had it absolutely spot on, right? He said the difference is today. He went back. I've been saying it for months. Go back to basics. Play your senior pros. Play your fighters. Play your grafters. Let's stop this experiment with Gray and Bergvall and Tell. Stop all this. Let's get the men in the team and get them working hard. And this is why, and again, sorry, I sound like I'm going to kiss Danny's arse here. He's absolutely right. You're all now going back to Paulinho Bentancur. But if you play like the way we did today with the energy and the passion in midfield, you don't play both of them because you had one sitting, that was Bentancur, who sat and mopped up and did all the bit. And then you had Basuma as your box-to-box and Gallagher was your furthest forward pressing. And that worked. You now remove one of them and put in Paulinho, you've now removed one of those elements. You're either removing the guy that presses or you're removing the box-to-box. Because Paulinho knows how to do one thing. Bentancur can only do one thing because of his limitations and his injuries. So I think he got it absolutely spot on today. I agree with everyone. Mawani, absolutely dreadful. But again, what else has he got? Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like we're talking about which toilet roll is worse. You know, 1 ply or 2 ply. You know, there's not really. We're talking as though there's lots of options, and this is what always makes me laugh when I look in my comment section before a game. People go, "Oh, he's starting him." It's like, yeah, but you say that about him, and him. He's got to play. He's got to play somebody on that right. So look, I thought it was much better today. I thought we always knew it was going to tire out because of the limited game time that Basuma and Bentancur have had, and Gallagher to a lesser degree. We always knew that was gonna happen. I thought we were much better, but I think you're all right. Every single one of you in your own way has said it. We are absolutely toothless going forward. And this goes back to the summer. And I said we had a shit summer and everyone went, oh, he's got all these players. Had a shit summer, shit January, didn't buy what was needed. And if you keep replacing, if you replace elite forwards with great forwards and great forwards with good forwards and good forwards with shit forwards, naturally you're going to get worse and worse as a team. And that's what we've done. Solanke got hardly any goal threat to him. Richarlison can't control the football. I'm sorry, I still don't get it. I still don't understand what it is that anyone sees when this boy comes on. Mawani, worst pound for pound, the worst signing this club's ever made. If I'm going to be brutally honest, I think.
Yeah.
I know we can talk about Ndombele, but pound for pound, Mawani for me in terms of the loan fee and the wages, just atrocious. So look, I thought it was much better. Is it too little, too late? I think it is. If West Ham and Forest win in the next 2 days, we are 2 wins behind both of them. And too little, too late. But look, still, that's what we've put together, right? That squad is what we put together. I don't know why anyone's expecting to see games where we don't give away the ball and when we keep possession. You said we turned over 100 more passes than Brighton. Yeah, but Brighton have bought technically gifted midfielders that pass the ball. Spurs have got loads of people that run around in the midfield. Like, there's a huge difference, right? So I thought it was much better. Gutted not to get the win. I think we all are. But is anyone surprised? Still, you've called it for weeks. I've been calling it for weeks. This fan base has been saying Xavi shouldn't start. Xavi shouldn't start. Xavi shouldn't start. Xavi shouldn't start. If that boy doesn't start, there is nothing in that forward line.
Yeah.
And still, I'm getting fans say to me, I wouldn't start Xavi. He's not ready for a relegation battle. Okay, but who's scoring and creating your goals if this boy is not playing?
We have no chemistry if he doesn't start. That's the thing. I don't think he's been good either, Sam. I said it before. I think he's had a shit season, really, but he's been better than the rest of the crap up there. He gives you a chance of chemistry. Who's going to have that chance? Who's going to think of that chance or try that chance or got the capability of even having that chance out of him? Gray, Bergvall, Gallagher, Tell, Odegaard.
When you talk about chemistry, though, Dan, but this is the problem. Like I said earlier, there's people now going, what I'd do for next week is him, and him come back. Spurs need, for one, keep the same fucking 11.
Stick to what we did.
To the
maybe
11.
Change Mawani. Maybe change
every
Mawani.
Game. Yeah, but every game, every week, it's a different 11. It's a different formation. And then we're going, next week, I'd drop him and put brilliant. So we want to change more, like, to use your terminology. I say partnerships, you say chemistry. Give them these last 5 games, play that 11. Play that 11 and just say, right, learn, build, grow. And maybe you grind out 2 or 3 wins. But this is the problem. We're talking about Xavi Simons saying he hasn't had a good season. No one's had a good season, right? When people say no one, there's not one Spurs player I'm willing to say has had a good year. But someone like Xavi Simons coming to a new country needs to settle in to a organised team with consistency. And Spurs have not given him that. Right? We haven't given that to Gallagher since he's joined. We haven't given that to Simmons. We deserve this mess. Not us, not fans.
The other plus, we talk about creation and the lack of creation, and you write down what you were saying about Simmons, is that although I think he was only on the bench to lift spirits today, I do think Maddison's not that far off. So, for me, it'll be excellent to see him back in. Don't expect too much. The guy's been out since August, but it was nice to see him on the bench. It was not, the players came out about 20, 25 past 2. Paul Coit made a deal about announcing, lovely to see Madders back on the pitch, pre-match with the squad. And he waved to all the fans, and it's obviously given someone a lift. He's a senior player, one of our best players. and hopefully that will, we're looking for anything, any glimmer of hope at the moment.
Clutching at straws.
I don't think it's finished, Dan. I genuinely don't think it's finished. I think, listen, we're still,
Lubo, you've been saying this for 15 games. 15
not-
without a win, and you keep saying to me, genuinely, what did you say to me on the phone yesterday?
If
Saba, I
listen-
don't know what it is. I've got this feeling. I've got this feeling.
Blind hope. Listen. If Palace can beat West Ham, then we've closed the gap. We've halved the gap this weekend. If Palace beat them, if Palace draw with West Ham,
look at the way you word it. We've halved the gap as if it's like this big thing we've just done. Like
it's gone from 2 to 1.
You're a politician. You're such a politician. We've reduced the deficit by 50%. Right.
But the point he does have, where we are, 1 point
How many points
could
did
be a
Lubo
lot.
say we were going to get from the moment Frank was sacked? Was it 18?
18.
Yeah, but we are at a
at 18.
stage.
Listen,
We are at a stage where 1 point
my
can
hands
save
up
us.
for that overestimation. I got it wrong. I got it very wrong. Johnny and Sean said 15. Stell said 12. We're all going to be way off.
Why do you drag us into it? Don't
I
drag
said
us into
7.
it.
I said 7. I've nearly half the deficit.
Sean said this and Johnny said that.
Because, hang on, Stell, you guys are all part of the same conversation. I wasn't the only one that made a prediction.
Relegation is 18th and below. If West Ham lose tomorrow, we stay 18th. Right?
Correct.
That's the only thing that's going to matter at the end of the season.
No, you're right. We've halved the gap still this weekend if West Ham lose. I'm just
Are we
looking
not at a point where are we not at a point of the season now? Yeah, we definitely needed that win today, but where every point counts, and this point could actually be one that saves us. I very much doubt it's going to be, but it could be because it is that tight at the moment. If things go right for us and West Ham only get a draw, whatever, it means we only need to win the next one and they lose it or draw it and we go in front of them. Every point counts here, but today we definitely needed a win. And I do think it's too little too late. And yeah, I will give it to you the way Lubo puts it. Yeah, politician, put yourself up for London mayor. I'm sure you won't do a worse job. And in that aspect, every point counts. That is a compliment in its own way, trust me.
Sadiq
but I'll leave the other
Lubo.
side to it.
Sadiq Lubo.
Oh,
So let me get
it was
Simon in.
just
Simon,
Spurs, wasn't it?
I want to get Simon's take. Si, when you look at it, okay, let's bring it up, actually. Let's bring it up. So this was the run-in before this weekend, so you can wipe off the Brighton game for us. Obviously, West Ham and Forest have still got their 2 games. Let's go on the assumption. I'm going to make an assumption. Forest beat Burnley and West Ham draw with Palace, okay? Let's just go with that assumption. When you look at the remaining games that Forest, West Ham and Tottenham have got, we've got Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, Everton. West Ham have got Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle, Leeds. And Forest have got Sunderland, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, Bournemouth. When you look at those remaining games, if Tottenham are, let's say, 2 points behind West Ham, 3 points behind West Ham, 5 points behind Forest, do you think we claw it back? How many wins do you think we need? Where do you think the wins come from? How do you see this running now? Because every week we do this, and every week we don't win again. So,
yeah. So I think in November, in a couple of groups, I just drew a load of on the matches that were left. The way we were playing back then was shocking as well. And I remember I pretty much put loss or draw on majority of the games remaining in the season, because I was like, I generally don't know where we're going to get the points from. I did exactly the same at the end of January with the fixtures left, and it looked worse because I was just lost all confidence after those couple of months. So if you're looking at me to give you an answer for this lot, I don't know where we're getting our points from. I don't know. I can't see us getting points. Some draws here and there. I don't have confidence for wins at the moment.
what about Wolves away? They've hit a bit of a rocky patch.
I honestly can't do it because I know I just don't trust or believe in Tottenham at all this season. People can literally on paper, we could have the argument about like, oh, this on paper we should be winning this game, or like they've had this result, 9 times out of 10 when we play these teams that have had bad runs or are on their worst runs or haven't scored this many goals or no goals for ages, we're the team that gives it to them. So I don't, listen, if I have my heart in this, I would say we beat Wolves and we will get enough throughout the season. My head's saying the complete opposite on the logic of what I've seen for the whole season, most of last season as well. I don't know. And I haven't seen enough of De Zerbi and his influence to register what I think could happen. There was a bit of a luxury with the previous 2 managers, not so much Tudor, but he had a fair run of games, quantity-wise, for us to sort of sit there going, this is going to get worse, as it was with Frank. So with this one, today is a positive, absolutely. But I saw a positive against Anfield and then it went backwards again. So, yes, Wolves are a lot worse than Liverpool, obviously. It has to be a win. I've been saying like we have to win this game. We have to win this game every day, every week that we play. It's called insanity, where you think or do the same thing over and over again with the same outcome, but you don't want to change anything or see any change for it to not become insane. So I don't. You're probably asking the wrong person, because for me on the paper I can't even put we're going to win this, we're going to win that. I just don't.
Right,
I don't.
Sorry, I'll tell you what, because I've got some super chats to do. I'll ask you one quick question, and I'll go around and do the same with everyone as well after I do the super chats. In your view, are Spurs staying up, even off the back of today's game? What you saw, do you think Spurs are staying up?
No.
We're going to get everyone else's views and opinions on that as well. I think most people might agree with you on that. We'll find out. Very quickly, thank you to Donut13, who says, stay positive. Every week I hear that, stay positive. Yeah. But the midfield constantly gets overrun. How do those two go in the same sentence? Stay positive, but our midfield gets overrun. And Solanke is looking fucking awful. Mate. Okay, so I can't be positive about the midfield or about the attacker, but all right, I'll stay positive. Another super chat. Thanks again, Donut 13. We'll win at Wolves, but the standard in the Premier League is poor, and that's why we think we looked good today. We weren't great, but better. I think most fans would agree with you on that one. 3-star Reds, thank you. Lubo, I said the same thing in 1993 with Cloughie. What's this about, Lubo? Is this going down?
Possibly going down, yeah.
Did Forest go down with Cloughie in 93?
I think so. Yes, they did go down with Clough.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, this must be a Nottingham Forest fan then. Or
just quality. 3-star Reds is a really good guy. Really good quality.
Big up to 3-star Reds. Thank you for your super chat. Let's go this way. Oh, we've got one more super chat just came in. A user, regular on the channel, thank you very much. Says, we ain't beating Wolves. They always mauled us. When's the last time we beat Wolves, out of curiosity? I can't remember.
7 games
3
ago.
years. 3 years ago, isn't it?
3 years ago.
Was that Vertonghen?
Vertonghen was the
Vertonghen,
last time we beat them at Molineux, wasn't it? Vertonghen.
No, I think
he had
so.
a penalty in 5 minutes. That's what it was, I think.
Yeah, Wolves always seem to turn up with us. They're just another team that does it.
First away game of the season. It may have even been Nuno. I think it was Nuno.
Yeah, it was. It's when Dele Alli, was it Dele Alli scored?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Dele Alli
away
scored.
at their
Away.
ground.
Yeah.
I was their ground as well. Yeah, like the Lucas Moura.
Yeah, and we played 3 seasons worth since, so this will be the.
Do you remember the start of this season? I remember I was at the game. Wolves hadn't won in 5 games. They were rock bottom, the worst team in the country, and they came to our ground, outplayed us, and it was a Paulinho last-minute equaliser that prevented us from losing.
Yeah.
Back in September. Do you know what? Listen, I'll come to you, Dan. This Wolves game, it's got draw written all over it, hasn't it? It's just another draw. Dan, do you when you look at the running, do you think De Zerbi might pull it out the bag and he can build on today? Or is it what Simon said, we saw this against City when we came back from 2-0 down. We saw it at Anfield. You get these positive games and then we just collapse or it doesn't quite go to plan after that. What's your take on it?
I think if the manager basically does what Sava was saying earlier and say, right, this worked today as good as it's going to work, really. Okay, if we wouldn't have conceded that last minute. I think today is about as good as you're going to see it work with Spurs, unless we have some magical game where we score 3 goals. And for us, that's a magical game now. Yeah, with the shit we got up front. I think if he could just stick with the basics and stick with this 11, maybe just change one. And for me, that's Moane up there. And then the other one he goes and changes is Bentancur to Polini or Polini to Bentancur, whatever. I think as long as he pretty much stays with the basics, we have a chance. But I still personally think it's too little too late and we're going to go down. But we have more of a chance, I think, is the way I can put it. If he just keeps it stable, no messing about, no trying something totally different and different formation and what. Keep it plain, Jane, and simple as you possibly can. Then there's a lot less to go wrong. When you start making a plan, and then that plan has a spine line, and then you add to the plan and add to the more you add to that plan, the more that can go wrong. For me, you sort of 50% do it as blatant as and then go with a flow. But I know everyone's different. Wolves, do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised in any means or manner if we lost it, drew it, or even bloody won it. That's the situation, I think. I mean, I don't think no result would surprise me. If we beat them, it'd be like, okay, yeah, we've done Wolves. They're at the bottom of the league. If we drew it, I'd just be like, yeah, same spurt. And if we lose it, I just wouldn't be surprised either. I don't think there's much in that game that's going to surprise me unless we walk out 4-0. But if we stick with just plain Jane and simple, we have a very slim chance and hope of West Ham screwing it up or even Forest. I think Leeds, I'd say they're pretty much clear now.
Yeah,
personal opinion. And especially with a game coming up against us, it is that tight now. And some of the teams we've got to play, that's where I think we're already done. And some of them have still got things to play for, like Aston Villa. Everton, for instance, are no mugs this year, without a doubt. And so when it comes down to it, I wouldn't be surprised with whatever result we get against Wolves. But I think if he keeps it just, like I said, plain Jane and simple, don't piss ball about with everything, don't do too much changing in formations or this or that or whatever else, I still think we have a chance. And you can say that, even if we go and lose the next game, until it says on paper that we are down, you can always sit there and say there's a chance because it's not a fact. But I do think we are down.
Dan, you say to keep the same squad, like keep it plain Jane and simple. There was some conversations after the game. Again, it's just conversations. No one knows that Xavi Simons might be injured. If he is injured, what do you do with the number 10? Do you bring Maddison back and take a risk, or do you play someone else there like Bergvall, which we know doesn't work?
If I'm going to play that way, and I'm going to play, it depends. I mean, for me, I don't think Simons started as a 10. I think he started out on the left more than anything. I thought we played with 3 in midfield and we used Bentancur sitting a bit deeper with the 2 centre mids pushing up. I think we played more like that. And then as the game went on,
if Simons isn't on the left, what would you do? Who would you play?
There's only one thing you can do, really, and that's go stick Tell on there, because he's about the only player we've actually got that naturally plays on the left. I mean, Moane, for me, if we haven't got Simons in that team, I think we've got no chance of creating anything, basically. So if he's out, then the manager has to make a change. I'm talking about if he doesn't have to make any changes, then don't bloody do it. The only one I won't argue with is if he goes and changes Moane, because he has just been. You might as well go and stick Mickey Mouse in there because he was that piss poor today. And the only other one I wouldn't argue with is if he took Bentancur out and stuck Paulinho in there. So when the Paulinho starts toning down because he doesn't seem to be totally fit, you can put someone like Bentancur in there, and it's not the massive drop off the cliff like it is when you take one of them off and put Bergvall, Gray, or Sarr on there.
Fair enough. Lubo, very quickly, one more super chat from Donut13. He says, to clarify, we need to stay positive, but fuck me, this is getting desperate. Donut, you're all over the shop.
Is that Lubo's burner account? Is that Lubo's? But actually, Lubo wouldn't know how to have a burner account, would he? Let's be brutally honest.
He wouldn't know how to set up. By the way, Donut, thank you very much for the super chats. We do.
That's the advantages of having a 20-year-old daughter, isn't it, Lubo? They do that stuff for you.
Yeah.
So, Lubo, tell us on your 7-point manifesto how we're staying up.
I'm still 51% think we'll stay up. I still think we'll just stay up.
Why can't you just say 50-50?
Because
he needs to remain positive so he doesn't get the stick me and you get in the chat.
But I would think outside the box here in terms of next few games, in terms of what I would do with the squad. We're not creating chances without Simmons. Moani is just doing nothing. It's just a waste of time actually him playing. So I would bring a kid in and put him on the bench. There is a kid who is back from injury. I'm sorry, Sav. We have got nothing.
Of course you would.
Hang on. We have nothing to lose. We're not creating chances. We're not. We're just not. And there's a kid who's just come back from injury who's smashing it up again. He's probably the most direct winger we've had at the club since Gareth Bale. I'm not comparing him with Bale. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying he's a kid coming
for a relegation fight.
Yes, because there is nobody. You're getting nothing out of Moani. You're getting very little out of Tell still, and we've got to score.
But don't you think? But Lubo, don't you think Savin made a good point earlier on when he said, "Look, just put the kids out of
that's fine.
the situation for now. Play the adults.
That's fine. That's fine. Stick with that. But I'm just saying that put him on the bench because we're not creating chances. That's the problem. Still, we're just not. So you may as well listen. We've played 33 games, and the amount of chances we're creating, I think we're bottom 3 in the Premier League.
Which youngster are you talking about?
Tyler Thompson.
So you would bring Tyler Thompson into this squad with 5 games to go.
I don't think
we've not played a senior game of football for Tottenham Hotspur.
Absolutely. Do you know why? What's the point of having Moani there? What does he? Sorry, seriously, what does he do? It's like playing with 10 men. I'm not saying start. I'm not saying start Thompson. I'm saying start Tell. But I'm just saying that have the kid on the bench if you need a goal and you need someone to create and you need someone to go at defenders. And he's bloody quick, this kid. I throw him in. You have got. Listen, it's desperation stakes now. What we've had hasn't worked for 33 games. Are we going to wait till we're down until, do you know what? If we'd have tried this, tried that, it's just a thought. But we've
created the 13th most chances in the league.
13th out of 20.
And if you keep piss balling about it and chopping and changing every 5 minutes, then it definitely isn't going to get a chance to settle down and work either.
I'm not saying change first. I'm not saying put him into the first team. Of course not. But I'm just saying that I'd have him on the bench, Dan, because we're just not creating, are we? We're not.
I do agree, but at least the only positive thing I can say about Moani, about just chucking some random kid in there, basically, who's never even played a Premier League game of football, is he has done it at times. Not necessarily for us. Okay, 1 game you can say he's pretty much pulled it off for us, or was it 2? But you know, he has been in big games in his career and he has put it in the back of the net. For us, he has been totally abysmal. I get that. So even though he has been that piss poor, same as Richarlison, same as Solanke, same as the rest of them, I'd still maybe have that little bit of extra of starting the experience over the kid who might have a point to prove and break his leg in the process trying to kick the ball. We're not in a stage where we can mess about.
Sorry, can I ask a question here? Right. You're saying drop Moani, which I agree with, start Tell and put the kid on the bench. What has Tell done that Moani hasn't?
We
Yeah,
scored 3
agree.
goals. We scored 3 goals. One, got 1.
When? Mwani scored a couple of goals in Europe.
In Europe. Okay, I'm just talking Premier League because we've only got Premier League games now. I'm just
When's the
talking
last time Tell scored for Tottenham?
Man United. He scored against Man United. He scored against Leeds away.
But you just said creativity, and Tell hasn't got a single assist this season.
So listen, who do you play out front then?
No, I agree, but I'm just trying to find your logic because what we're doing is we're talking about taking out people that haven't done anything for people that haven't done anything, right? Like, see, the only reason I said Lupo that I would keep it the exact same isn't that I think Mwani's good, but when you start looking at what are the alternatives, there isn't any. Like I agree with Dan. At least with Mwani, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think he's rubbish, by the way. But at least with Mwani,
so bad, isn't it?
He's played in a World Cup final, right? As a benchmark, for example, he's played in Champions Leagues for Juventus and for PSG and for Tottenham. Listen, I don't disagree with you that we don't create. But Lubo, this is what I tried to explain to you in the summer, and you told me it's fine. We can kick that can down the road. This was my point in the summer. We didn't buy people that create. Other than Kudus, we bought no one that can create, right? So we kind of have to deal with it now, but we can't with 5 games to go Tyne and Thompson, you just come back from injury from the kids league. Could you now step in and like, I don't know. I feel like this is what we had earlier in the season when you were desperate to get Gray in over Bentancur.
Let me ask you a question. What
and we got worse when that happened. Like, I'm just confused. We're not learning.
We are desperately short up front. Desperately short.
Yes.
So do we stay desperately short till the end of the season and just hope that maybe Romero or Danso are going to score from a set piece? Maybe Simmons.
Not sure, but you haven't offered an alternative. But the thing is, I agree with you. No one's saying we're good up front. I've been banging this drum for years that we are shit up front. When you've been praising the likes of Solanke and Richie, I've been banging the drum that these are shit strikers.
You're not talking Kane and Son, are you? But
no, but how many people said when Solanke comes back? What? When Solanke comes back? What?
True.
What about when Solanke comes back? He's never done anything in his career, but the point is, if we're going to offer an alternative to Mwani, surely it can't be another 17-year-old kid that's done nothing, like that hasn't played against men.
What do you suggest?
That's where we've gone wrong in midfield. You wanted Gray to come in over Bentancur, but we got worse when that happened.
Right, but we didn't have the players there because they were all injured. Bentancur has been injured for months. Bergvall was injured for months. Basuma's been injured for months.
You were asking for this before the injury, mate. So I'm talking about we've got, as fans, I feel like we're not looking at past evidence and saying we know this doesn't work. We're asking again for kids to come in and save us, where I think the reason we're in this mess is because we bought too many kids and they're the players that are having to play because we didn't buy enough senior pros. If we had bought more senior pros, we wouldn't have had a midfield of Bergvall and Gray for 2 years. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be playing Telenoda Burr out wide if we had bought what we needed instead of buying kids. So
how do you put it right? We got a massive problem up front.
You don't with 5 games to go. You go with what you saw today. Surely you put it right in January. You put it right in January. When Lookman is offered to Tottenham, you put it right then. When Solis is offered to Tottenham, when Akliouche is offered to Tottenham, you put it right then.
Right. We don't have that, do we? We don't have that. So we just got to look at what we've got. I've got to tell you something. I think maybe we'll edge because maybe Maddison will come back and create in 2 or 3 of the games. Simmons scored 1, made 1 today. Should have had 2. And maybe, just maybe, West Ham and Forest have got tough run-ins and we'll scrape. And even if we stay up on goal difference, we stay up. It's going to be very, very tight.
But we don't score goals.
That's the problem. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think outside the box. People are saying, "Oh, you're mad, you're mad." You know, it's a kid. But what else have we got? We haven't.
Would you
got
say today works, Ian? Would you say today worked more than it has done in the past 20 games, bar the Champions League game? Would you say today actually worked as good as it could?
Yes, I think the performance today.
So don't change it.
There you go.
That's my point,
Don't
Dan.
change it then.
That's my point, Dan. We're already wanting to change. We sit here and go, that was the best performance for a while, and then we want to start tinkering again.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not saying it's
cannot-
good
I'm
by any means or
I
manner.
cannot understand it. Like, Nottingham Forest have found a formula that works for them. Leeds have found this new formula in the last 4, 5, 6 games. Leeds have put 3 at the back. They found this formula that works for them. Spurs fans, we're out here going, well, we played well today. I'll tell you what, next week, why don't we him come out, him come out, him come out. Let's get these people in.
One
Let's
change.
play kids.
No, Sav. One change. One change.
Well, tell for Moani.
Tell for Moani. I don't think Moani has earned his place for next Saturday against Wolves.
Lubo. Listen. I'm not arguing because I think Tell and Moani are both cut from the same cloth of shitness.
Agreed.
But when Tell came on today, what did he do? Like, he came on today, what did he do?
So
There was no
he held,
difference, was there?
I think he held the ball up much better than Moani did. Much better. There were 3 or 4 occasions where he was closed down very quickly, and he held the ball and he came away and he laid it off, which is a start. At least we're not losing the ball. You know, he got the ball. He's not losing it. We lost the ball plenty.
Do you know what I think Tell done better than Moani today? I think Tell actually came back and helped at the back better than I've seen Moani do it. I'm not saying that's great, but there was a couple of times.
We're talking about Dan, hold on. We're talking about creativity, and now you're talking about his defensive attributes.
Yeah, I'm just saying what I saw him do today. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's defense. So defensively, he offers us more. But Lubo wants to change him for the attacking purposes.
Didn't Moani nearly score today?
Yeah, that's.
Now, by the way, I'm not. I think Moani's been, as I said, pound for pound the worst signing ever. But Moani's rifled one. The keeper sticks it over the bar. But Tell can't shoot. Right? Tell. I don't know. I don't know what he does. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm apologising. I keep hearing that Tell's got something in him.
Listen, the bar is very low here. What I'm talking about.
Sure.
But we've got to try and find a way to win games. It's been a long time since you've won a game, and if we don't start winning games, we've had it. We're down.
We're basically at that point where beggars can't be choosers, and we just got to deal with what we got. I think today has gone as right as it possibly can if we didn't mess up in the last second, basically. So I say stick with what we got. I could understand if he changed Moani for Tell. I could understand why. They're both as bad as each other, so try the other one, flick a coin.
Do you think De Zerbi will stick with what you've got?
Do
you think De Zerbi will do that?
If he's got half a brain on him and he's got the players there, I think yes. I think the only one he might chop and change with is Bentancur, Paulinho, for the same reasons that neither of them. Because I don't know, is it that Paulinho isn't totally match fit? But it's the third manager doing that. If it's gone right today as much as it can. I'm not saying it was a spectacular game, but it was significantly better than what we have seen. No matter what we do, even if we go and stick 5 men up the other end of the pitch, we're still going to struggle to score because they're all shit in front of goal. So I think this is the best we're going to see out of us possibly. So stick to what you've got. And just like you were saying at the very start of the season, or partially into it, of like, do you know what? Up until January, Tell plays on the left because he is a left-footed player. That's where he plays. Just play him there. Give him some time there for the next 5 or 6 games to see if you can actually get some consistency out of him.
Yeah, I said that about Odegaard. I said
Odegaard, sorry, not Tell. Odegaard. Yeah. My mistake.
Give him 10 games.
But I'm now looking at it in the aspect of we ain't got 10 games. We got, 6 games left now? 5 games left then, sorry. Okay, stick with what you got for the next 5 games and see if you can make something out of it. Instead of piss-balling about, chopping and changing, this and that, hitting and hoping, trying kids, trying that. Just today for me went as good as it could go apart from us getting the win, and that was because of an accident in the last minute. So I think beggars can't be choosers. I think we're in a situation now. Just try and give some sort of stability to that team over the next 5 games. And just hit and hope. That is literally all we've got now.
Do you know what? I didn't finish my question actually. Simon said he thinks we're going down. You said we think we're going down. So Luba, other than you making one or two little changes, do you think Spurs are staying up? You think we're going to stay up, don't you? Just about.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm staying with it. I've said all along. I think it'll be just. I think it'll be close. Could even be goal difference, but I do think we'll just about stay up. And I think there is. And I know I keep saying it, and I've been saying it now for 10 weeks or something ridiculous, but we are due a result. We're due a bit of luck as well. You know what?
I've been saying it. We're due a result.
We're due a bit of luck. It's interesting. You know when Paulinho hit that shot and it deflected and it went straight to, was it straight to their keeper? And my son turned around and said, you know what? We just need a bit of luck. You know, other clubs have shots like that. They take a deflection, they go in. Well, Paulinho hit a nice shot, takes a deflection, goes straight to the keeper. And that's.
Or how's about just our players when they're in on goal, they just don't pass it to the goalkeeper? Just
there's that as well.
Aim for the corners.
We had great
blast it over the bar.
No, it's nothing to do with luck. It's nothing to do with refs.
Richie
nothing
tries
to do with all this.
Sometimes you do. Listen, everybody needs a bit of luck.
He could have been a hero in the 96th minute. He could have been a hero today.
I thought he was crap when he came on. I think he kills our midfield.
He just wasn't in it. It was just the ball was just.
He wasn't crap. He just wasn't in it.
Every time he gets it, it's a 2 to 3 to 4, 5 yard pass sideways. It's like, oh my god,
backwards.
Oh my god, just stop backwards. Just stop. Anyway,
He was last player. He was the last player to win us a game, wasn't he? I do believe. Anyway, moving on.
Saba, before I come to you very quickly, we've got another super chat from Donut 13 who says, "I'm drunk."
Love it.
Is that Donut because you're positive?
Donut, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and look at all the super chats and all the money coming off your bank card. And you go, yeah, I was drunk. God bless you, mate. God bless you. Listen, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Have a good weekend. Sava, are we down, or do you think maybe we might scrape? I'd scrape.
Listen, when Frank was sacked, I predicted 7 points from the last 36 available. And of course, I was called really negative still because, that's what happens. I'm sticking with my 7 points. I believe we'll get 5 more, and I don't think it will be enough. If Forest have got Burnley tomorrow, Forest have got Burnley at home. If Forest beat Burnley tomorrow, they go what? They go 5 clear of us, which means in 5 games, we've got to have a 2-win swing. Can't see it.
No.
This is all going to be about Spurs and West Ham. This is all going to be about West Ham, and we better pray that West Ham don't pick up any points. Because if they win against Palace on Monday night, we still then need a 2-win swing on West Ham in 5 games. So when people are saying it will be tight goal difference, I don't know where the
are West Ham in Europe, Sava? They're not, are they?
No.
No. West Ham are in Europe. No. West Ham are like us playing 1 game a week. But
right, yeah.
Mate, I wish I could say. I think we will end the season on 36 points, and I don't think it will be enough. Listen, the mistake wasn't letting Frank go. The mistake was not having a plan of what to do when they let Frank go. The mistake was not backing Frank in January. The mistake was not backing the squad in January. Right? Didn't matter who the manager was. We needed new players. We needed wingers. We needed strikers. They didn't do any of this. And I think
goal
scorers. And they've killed us. They didn't buy creators or goal scorers. It's killed us. We're now on the 3rd manager of the season. Look, if I'm wrong, still, I'll happily be wrong because it means my team stays in the Premier League. Right? This isn't one of those where I go, I'm really glad I was right. No, I want to be wrong. I want to win 5 out of 5. But we've got Villa away, right? We've got Chelsea away. We've got Everton at home on the last day of the season. Everton are battling for Europe. Right? Everton are battling for Europe. Right? Leeds. Is anyone watching Leeds play at the moment? Thinks that them coming to White Hart Lane is going to be an easy 3 points. Like, so I don't know where these wins are coming from.
Who's that striker they signed? He looks half decent.
Who?
Is it Okafor?
Okafor. Yeah, he scored
He
against
scored
us earlier in the
against us,
season,
didn't
didn't he? He scored
Mate,
against Dave. But again,
the
look,
last 3-4 games, he looks decent.
yeah, look what we bought.
Yeah.
So look, I hope I'm wrong, Stel. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Spurs go and win the next 3. But other than Wolves, which even then I'm not. I'll go back to Sai's answer earlier. I heard him say where you'd like to say it, but I'd be too scared to write it down that we're going to win. I don't see where a win is coming from. And I think that we're going to go down. And if we go down, there's going to be all these big inquests as to why we've gone down, and every individual in the world is going to get blamed rather than the collective. But we deserve it. Still, not us fans. I'll say that again and again. Not us fans, but the football club deserves to get relegated just for how bad it buys players and for how badly it's been run. We're sitting here in a relegation battle. We're talking about, should it be Tell, Thompson, or Mawani on the right-hand side? Not one of them is an out-and-out right winger, right? If Thompson might be, I've seen him play on the left for the youth team, might be. But if we're saying the out-and-out right winger is the guy that hasn't made a senior pro appearance in his career, like, how do you get to that stage still? How, when Brennan Johnson was sold on the 2nd and Kudus got injured on the 4th of January, how are we in this position? The owners. The owners.
You ain't got to tell.
No, I know. The owners have killed us. And their decision to hire Tudor, at that point, we had 36 points to play from still. We had 29 points. From that position, you would say Spurs need 9 points, because 38, I think, will keep you up this year. We need 9 points from 12 games. We need a 25% win record. And we haven't won a game since. We've not won a game since that day.
Yeah, this is the problem.
So we really need, Sav, we've really got, when you look at it, you're looking at, if you think 38 will keep us up, we're on 31 now, then really you're looking at, we've got to get wins against Wolves and Leeds and a draw against Everton, which gives you 38 without, taking out Villa and Chelsea away.
But do you know the problem is? Do you know the problem is that we've got at the moment? We say we've got to beat Leeds, we've got to beat Wolves, as if they're the teams we think we're going to beat. We can't beat anyone.
Yeah,
we lost to Forest, we lost to West Ham, we lost to we drew with Burnley away. I was at that game. We drew to Burnley.
I know.
Yeah,
by the way, Simon.
By the way,
sorry, just very quickly. Simon had to jump off, guys. His battery cut out, so he just wanted to wish you all good night. And he just said to pass on this message to you: if we do get relegated, he lives in Portsmouth. So when we play Portsmouth away, he's got a special rate of £5 for parking your car on his driveway. Smash the like, and you get the Portsmouth away discount to park your car. This isn't a joke. If we go down, all right. Sava, you got me.
No, I was just saying we've done this all year, right? We've done this all year. It's only Wolves, it's only Everton, it's only Palace, it's only Bournemouth, it's only Brentford.
Exactly.
Like it's only. I don't think we're realizing these football clubs are better than us. I genuinely don't think we're realizing that these teams are better football teams than Tottenham Hotspur. But we keep saying we should beat them. On paper, we should.
Football's not played on paper.
Of course it's not. Still, let me ask you a question. Who in this league has got a worse front three than Tottenham Hotspur?
Hands down. Sava, listen, I think
Burnley? Maybe Burnley? Maybe?
Out of the teams from 18th and upwards, I think it's Tottenham. The reason why I've just accepted relegation is because I don't look at the attack and I see goals to win games, and I don't look at the defense and think you've got the bottle and the nerve to hold out when we're under pressure. And I've seen it too many times. Whoever the manager is, Frank, Chute, whoever, these defenders, when the pressure's on, they make stupid decisions, whether it's the goalie, the centre-back, the right-back, they make stupid decisions and we bottle it. And if we're depending on the strikers to score goals, mate, forget it. So I think defensively and up front, I think we're in trouble.
I think we've got dreadful fullbacks. I think we've got dreadful strikers. We've got no ball playing midfielders. and I think we're average at centre half. I don't know where all the hype is for these footballers. I've never known it. I don't understand it.
Saba, I'll tell you what though. Saba, you say that.
We just got to do enough to be fit to finish 17th, haven't we?
Lubo, hold on. Right,
Sure.
I agree
Sure.
with what Sava's saying. I agree with Sava's saying, but I have said throughout the season these players are better than what we're seeing. I do believe, though. When we sacked Frank, if they brought in De Zerbi then, I think we would have done enough to stay up. I think we would have done just enough to stay up. But it doesn't matter now. Now
we never make the right decision, do we? That's the problem still.
No.
But this is why at the time when I said I'm all for sacking Frank, but it can't just be for anybody. And the majority of people, what was they saying? Anyone but Frank. And unfortunately, that proved not to be the case, right? And even then, De Zerbi's not won a game yet. So we're now on the third manager of the season. None of them are winning games with these players. None of them, right? Yeah. What if De Zerbi doesn't win a game? That will be Tudor, Frank, and De Zerbi that can't win games with these players.
I tell you what, if De Zerbi doesn't win a game, it's going to be the most expensive manager we've ever hired for nothing. Absolutely. It will go down as one of the worst decisions we've ever made because the money we've spent on De Zerbi, boy, if we go down with him, that is one hell of a expensive payout for what?
Still, can I ask you a question? Listen, it's points we need. I know that. It's wins we need. I know that as well. In terms of performance since De Zerbi and organisation, do we think we can see an improvement since De Zerbi came in? Can we see that he's
too soon to say?
Early days, and I know we're running out of time, but do we not think that there is? You can see it is better.
Only today. If you go back to the game against Sunderland, we looked absolutely trash. Today is the first game in about 15 games, in the Premier League, that we have not looked like absolute dog shit. Today is the first one.
I thought we played well against Liverpool at home this year under Frank. We lost 2-1. We're down to 9 men.
Right,
I thought we actually played well that day.
No, I thought you were on about the other Liverpool game. I thought that was just a game of who was shitter on the day. I thought
Can I play devil's advocate
as well?
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
But isn't that the case that De Zerbi, unlike Tudor and Frank, he's got 22 first-team professionals available to pick from?
He's got more players to pick from. Yeah, he do. It's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like you think, listen, I think Tudor was shit, by the way, but Tudor's got like 12 footballers to pick from. Don't get me wrong, he was shit. But he's got 12 footballers to pick from. De Zerbi has walked straight in 2 games in a row and had the luxury of leaving players out of the squad. He's able to leave senior pros out of the 20-man squad because we've got players fit. So I think we were better today, but I need to be really careful because there are many fans that told me, oh, we look much fitter and much better under Tudor because we got 1 point at Liverpool. And I didn't think we were good against Liverpool, by the way. I know
you were terrible.
I thought we were poor at Liverpool.
Terrible.
But we grabbed
Sava, Liverpool away, I thought we were terrible.
No, I agree. I agree with you on both. I thought we were good at Liverpool at home. But what I'm saying is, still, remember when we got the draw a few weeks back against Liverpool and everyone was doing this is a great performance. It was like, is it?
It wasn't.
I was like, I just watched Liverpool open us up like a can of worms every time. But
Liverpool were just terrible that day as well. Liverpool were awful in that game. Their finishing was not there on that day. You can just say today has been probably the biggest improvement I've seen apart in the Premier League games in the past 15 games. Can I go by justice today? I'm just going to say the manager has to stick with what he's got.
Dan, probably since City, second half, I thought we played well.
Yeah. Either way, that's about what? That's about 15 games, isn't it? 13, 15 games.
It's about 7 or 8, I think. But
the issue we've got is there's no consistency. There's no consistency with us. So it's impossible to tell Lubo whether today is better because there needs to be some if the next 2-3 games, even if we don't win, but we look like we're in the game. Like today, we were in the game to the end and deservedly so. if that's the case the next 2-3 games, then I could say, do you know what? De Zerbi's got something out of them. If we go to Wolves next game and we put in a really wretched performance and draw or lose, then it's going to be, what the hell was that? What did I just watch? And then we're back to square one again, aren't we? And then we're all going to think, right, we've got. Then we're all going to think after Wolves, we're going to lose that game because we look shit again. We're going to lose all the leads.
It wasn't good last Sunday at Sunderland, but we were in the game right up to the end.
No,
that was only because they did. That was only because they only scored one goal.
On paper, 1-0. Yes, you're right. But what we were watching was absolutely atrocious. The last 20 minutes was shocking, awful. At least today, we look like we might. Like, look at today. Archie Gray could have won it in the last 3 minutes. Like it wasn't like that against Sunderland.
I just think at the moment, look, De Zerbi, what he's got is he's got a full enough squad. We know we're not going to see Kudus. We know we're not going to see Kulu. But he's got a full enough squad.
Or Romero.
Right? I don't mind Romero being out. We've got a full enough squad to say, okay, the performances should be better than when you've just got 12 players and loads of kids on the bench. You know, like today, I thought, like, for me, it was a breath of fresh air today, to not watch Archie Gray in midfield. Sorry, Luba. I thought it was actually good to see men in midfield. It was good to see people with know-how, positional sense, experience.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you.
And
I agree with you. Graham Bergvall should be squad players. He shouldn't be first-team players.
Agreed. But the point is that De Zerbi, it's difficult, right? I'm a fan of De Zerbi, by the way. But De Zerbi coming in with 7 games to go, there's no excuses because he knew what he was walking into, right? He knew what he was walking into. He knew the mess at the club, and he's walked into the players all coming back from injury. So he's got to keep us up. If he doesn't, right, it will be really interesting to see still. If he doesn't win a game this season, I'm not saying that's the case, but if he doesn't win a game, will he get the same stick that Tudor got for not winning a game?
No,
I think it's
probably not because his name's De Zerbi and he's our manager next season.
I think because he's only got 7 games that the fans do. I think whoever came in with 7 games wasn't going to get any blame because in a lot of fans' heads the damage has already been done, and this is just a hit and hope that we might save it. So I think because of that he'll get away with it.
I mean, you can say Tudor, he had a bit of time but no players, but you can say De Zerbi's got players but no time.
Yeah.
Tudor was awful though. Tudor was shocking.
Oh, I'm not disputing that. I think I get what we're trying to do.
Who the fuck hired him, man? Who the fuck hired him?
No, I think what the idea was of what the board had, and I ain't saying they got it right by any means or manner, was get Tudor in because everywhere he's been, he started off well. He'll cover us till the end of the season. Then we go for De Zerbi as a long-time manager. It does make sense. But like everything at Spurs, they definitely picked the wrong person. It went tits up. You get De Zerbi in, I think everywhere he's been, it takes him about 5 or 6 games to actually start getting points. So was he the one to bring in for now? No, it don't look like it. I've always thought De Zerbi's a good manager. I would have liked him over... I would have still picked Thomas Frank over him for the sheer fact that I just thought Thomas Frank would adapt. No, I preferred De Zerbi over Frank, but I would have picked Frank because I just thought Frank suited the Levy system that much more. Sure. I didn't know Levy was going to leave at the end of the window. That is the only reason I'd have picked Frank over him, because I just thought he fitted Spurs better. He'd deal with the cards he's got, whatever else. But that went up to tits up as well, like everything else. So I do think the board had a plan, but it's just another plan that they didn't plan properly. Thought they could get a cheap way out of it by bringing Tudor in there and whatever, and it totally went tits up. If they'd have gone and got rid of Frank in January, at the start of January, gone and got De Zerbi in there, would we be in the same position? I don't think we'd be far from it, but I don't think we'd be in relegation.
No.
Yeah, possibly.
The only 2 players, unless I'm missing, he's got his virtual full squad bar. I mean, we've got 6 players left that I think are injured: Kulu, Odegaard, Davis, Romero, Vicario, and Kudus. And I think the only 2 players that he left out of the squad, I think, were Sarr and Sousa, unless I'm missing anybody else. They were the 2, weren't they?
He's got 22.
Yeah.
So he could put 2 11s out. You think the last 2 managers haven't had that luxury, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, for me, I think the performance had to be much better immediately because he's got the pros to pick from. He's got the options. You know, he's got whatever you think of them, by the way. This isn't me rating them. He's got all 3 of our strikers are fit, right? If I'm not wrong, every single central midfielder at the club is fit. Am I right in saying that at the moment?
Yes.
Every single central midfielder is fit, right? Every defender other than Romero. I mean, if you want to count, if you want to count Ben, that's short. But do you know what I mean? Like he's got bodies in all those areas. The only position he's not got, let's be brutally honest, is right wing and left wing.
That's right. He's lost Kudus and Odegaard.
Yeah, he's got no wingers. So other than wingers, he's walking into. Listen, I don't think it's a strong squad, but what is our strongest 4 areas, if that makes sense?
Guys, is it fair to say we've got Romero, Odegaard, Kudus out? Is that it? Those 3?
What, from the first team? And Vicario?
Kulu.
We got Kulu, Odegaard. Right, we got 6 missing still. We got Kulu.
Okay, all right. So let's say 6 missing.
And Kudus.
All right. So if we've got 6 missing, and let's say 4 of them, maybe 3 are actual starters, then isn't that a normal injury situation?
Yes.
Right. So therefore,
yes.
Deserby's inherited a normal situation.
Yes,
he's got a normal. So
still, of those 6, who's a big miss? Because I'll be honest, I'm going to say this is going to get some backs up. I don't think Vicario's a miss. I think Kinski's been really good the last 2 games. I think he was good today. I thought he was very good at Sunderland. We know he had the shocker in Madrid, but I think he's been good. Who of the others? Kudus?
Yeah.
Romero is a starter, whatever we think of him. Kudus, Romero.
Kulusevski.
Probably Kulu. That's it.
Okay, cool. So
Odegaard doesn't start. Ben Davies doesn't start.
No.
So yeah.
So we're talking about 3 players, right?
Yeah,
so
whereas for me, it's 2. It's for 2 because I don't think we miss Romero personally, unless it comes to
I don't think we miss him, Dan. But he would start, wouldn't he? Was my point. He would start, right?
He would start.
He would start as the club captain. He's going to start games. But the point is, if he's missing 3 proper first teamers, right? And bearing in mind, you're not going to start Xavi, Kulu, and Maddison all in the same 11 anyway, right? He's got enough there that he's got to be picking up points.
Yeah.
Like this squad's shit, but it's not bottom 3 shit when people are available. So he's got to be picking up points. And people are saying in the chat, you got to factor in coming back from injury and De Zerbi's just joined. Guys, he joined with 7 games to go. He knew that. If he didn't want that, he says, I'll join at the end of the season. Get an interim. I'll join you in the summer. But you can't be
There was too much money.
Yeah, you can't be
He
caveating.
got offered too much money.
To go of the season.
The offer he got given, the offer that he got given, he would have been a complete dickhead to turn that down unless he's just loaded and don't give a toss about money. Because the offer is, even if we go down, he's not walking anywhere. One thing I'm pretty sure of is if we go down, he's going to be our manager. Because if he walks out, then he's a bloody idiot again. And Spurs ain't going to be able to sack him next season because they ain't going to have the money to bloody do it.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be here for the long run unless he walks out. And unless it's to another massive job, I don't think he's going to get a job offer like that on, 12 million a year. And I think he's going to be the most highest paid manager ever in the Championship. He probably earns what all the Championship managers earn put together, basically.
He probably does.
I don't think that's an exaggeration.
Dan, knowing us, we'd finish 7th and miss out on the playoffs or 8th, whatever.
You know what I mean?
Apparently, they've changed the format now. There's a new format to it or something.
Yeah.
They've made
Top
it more.
8th place gets you in the playoff spot next season.
I reckon if De Zerbi doesn't beat Wolves with the current players that he's got, if he doesn't beat Wolves, he's not going to win a game at Tottenham this season. If he doesn't beat Wolves, I don't think he beats Leeds, Everton, Chelsea, Villa. He might get the odd draw. If you can't beat Wolves, then I don't see De Zerbi winning any games. at
Leeds
Tottenham
and West
in
Ham
the
have just
Premier League.
steamrolled them. Leeds and West Ham have just put 7
Exactly.
goals between them past
Exactly.
Wolves, right?
West Ham
So if we
4-0.
and Sava, that's why I say, like, before you came on, I mentioned that if we can't beat this Wolves team who are looking a bit fragile again, he can't beat them, even if it's a stinky 1-0,
Yeah.
right? If you can't beat Wolves away, I don't think he wins a game at Tottenham this season. I just no way do I think he'll do
I
it.
think, do you know what?
We'll be so deflated off the back of the Wolves game. I think the confidence will just drop again.
You know
and it will
what?
just
Still, Wolfie said on Sava's show the other week that clubs get a surprise result, like Leeds won at Old Trafford. Maybe there'll be something for us. You know, who knows? You know,
we're not a normal club, Lubo. We don't. We never seem to fit into these things.
I know.
You know, where's my winning lottery ticket? I'm due some luck as well, for God's sake.
You don't think we're gonna look? I'll tell you what's funny, right? They've just put on the screen here. Still, this is.
I don't know if we beat Wolves. I don't know. But if we don't
they've just
beat
put
them,
on
I
the
think
screen here Chelsea's last 10 games, right? Chelsea have lost 7 and won 3 of their last 10. They've lost
you
7.
know what's
right?
coming. You know what's coming.
The 3 wins, right? One was against Wrexham, one was against Port Vale, and the other one was a good win at Villa. You know when we go to Stamford Bridge, Cole Palmer will put on a masterclass and we'll be 2-0 down in 15 minutes. Right. And that's
and we'll go down to 10 men, a penalty decision that is given, and all that shit. All the
Or will it be on the positive side that we go to Chelsea and for the first time in God knows how long smash them 4-0, and then Leeds and West Ham get a draw and it keeps us up?
Chelsea's fixtures, Chelsea's games before they play us. They're at Brighton this Tuesday. That game's been brought forward 4 days.
Their manager is diabolical, by the way. He's that manager you'd expect to see Spurs getting, for God's sake. He is that bad, I think.
They got Leeds. They got Leeds next weekend in the FA Cup. Then they've got Monday the 4th of May, Forest at home. Then Liverpool away, and then unless they're if they're in the FA Cup final, then I think because we're playing Leeds on the 11th, then I think they will be playing Spurs because we're playing Leeds on the 11th. They won't fit us in for the 13th because Chelsea are in the cup final at the weekend. So I think our game will be the 20th.
You know what? If we, and this is all just having a bit of banter, basically. But if we stay up because we've beat Chelsea, wouldn't it just be a Spursy way to do it? Because we never bloody do it, and it'd just be the one we go and do it. Wouldn't it just be a Spursy way to do it, though? Wouldn't it? It would just, I don't know. If you don't laugh, you cry. Basically,
I love comments like the one at 11:14. Absolutely crap me up. 11:14. Tony Fitzy. I love this. Only Spurs fans could see their club bottom 3 not winning for 15 games and then go, can't listen to this negativity.
Can't what? Sorry, what?
What?
I can't listen to his negativity.
Well, sorry, I don't like Harry Potter and Disney, mate. So go back to watching that.
Do you know what cracks me up? Apparently, if you're positive, that fixes our strategy, our tactics, the ability of the forwards to score, the ability of the defenders to defend, the ability of Lange to actually have a good transfer window. If we're positive, all these things will happen. It's crazy times. It's crazy times.
I say our fault. I say a majority of this side as such, because I do look on it that there's 2 sides. It was all about the toxic negative and everything else. Where as far as I'm concerned, like I said to everybody, if there's toxic negative, there's got to be toxic positive. I think toxic positive is a major problem that has been at the club, sort of thing. Oh, we're Spurs, we're too big to go down. Don't worry about it. Push it under the pillar. Next thing you know, the problem gets better. Turn a blind eye to it because we're Spurs, we're spectacular. Shit, we're in relegation and we're going down. It's your lot's fault because you've been so negative, and that's why Solanke can't put it in the back of the net and Richarlison is shit. Because they're going to have to blame somebody. And now that there's no Levy to blame, there's nothing really that there's plenty to put a blame on, i.e., players, manager, owners. You can put the blame on a lot of things this year, but when it comes down to the crunch, the issue is the owners through and through. But one way or another, I'm sure it'd get diverted over to some of the fan base on YouTube as such. It's your fault that we went down because you were being so negative all the time. Well, I'm sorry. If you want me to be positive about this, I've been as positive as I can today by saying we had a respectable game. If people want me to sit here and lie to myself, well, then you better buy me a bit more drink before I have a bloody chat like this, because I'm going to need a hell of a lot of it to talk it like that, basically. We are up shit street. No ifs, no buts. Yes, there is that little positive hope that something can go wrong at West Ham and we can scream that one in there and snatch it and whatever and manage to stay up. But on the realistic side, how anybody can look over the past two seasons and say it's positive. Us winning that Europa Cup was the worst thing that could have happened to us, in my opinion. Yes, it shut a lot of Spurs fans up, put a smile on the face. And what did it do? Put wallpaper over a hole in the wall. Not just a bloody crack, a hole in the wall. They went, sweet, people are happy. We've won cups. We're in Champions League. We've got money. Made a couple of transfers, made no real difference to the team. And here we are, same as we were this season. But the difference is the bottom three are not as shit as they were last year. And we are now in that bottom three, because I said last season, the thing that kept us out of it was the thing that the bottom three weren't so shit. And if we don't improve next year, we're either going to go down next year or the year after. Winning that Europa Cup totally put such a blind eye over a lot of people that all of a sudden there wasn't a problem here anymore. Now look at it. Here we are.
Here. Yes,
What
Dan.
Lebo, timestamp that for the clips. Timestamp it for the clips.
Dan.
Write that down. The time. 2 minutes. 2 hours 8 minutes in. Clip it.
Listen,
Do you know? Do you know what, Dan?
Sal, can I just ask Savile, what would you get on an acca? A two-pronged acca for Spurs to stay up on goal difference and Man City to win the league on goal difference?
Oh,
What do you reckon you get?
huge. On goal both those things happening on goal
Both
difference.
on goal difference.
Oh, huge. I liked the question I asked you earlier better. What odds would you have got on a Leicester-Tottenham double relegation?
Sure.
In August, what do you reckon you would have got? 5,000 to 1
Probably.
on Spurs
Jesus
and Leicester to
Christ.
both go down?
Probably.
Bearing in mind, Leicester City were favourites to win the title.
Yeah. There are 8
See,
points
they're
to drip
gone.
with 3 games left. They're gone, aren't they?
They're gone. They're gone. I watched them today. Watching Winks and Skip play for Leicester, about to get relegated into League One, really does make me think, oh, gosh, how many fans wanted them to stay and thought they were good enough? Oh, never mind.
They're washed, mate. They're both washed. I remember, by the way, thank you, Dean Law. I've just seen this. Your super sticker. Much appreciated. Have a great weekend. I remember start of the season when we were doing the pre-season conversations. I remember saying when we signed Tell and Ben Davies as our first 2 signings, I remember saying nothing has changed at this club. That's how we're starting. Nothing is going to... And then
do you know what I remember you did?
Mate, we argued for 4 months over it. Oh, fucking hell. It's only June. I said, no, this is what we do. How can you start a rebuild with Tell and Ben Davies?
I remember you WhatsApping me. I mean, I always know when something shit happens at Spurs. I always know I'm a few minutes away from a Stell WhatsApp saying they've done it again. Fucking hell, look, they've done it again. The club. But that did. You're right. It set the tone for the summer. It set the tone for the summer. Hell, at 40 million. Ben Davies signing a new contract, and you go, "Oh, what are we doing? Like what?"
Here we go again.
And then Takai comes in, and you're going, "Sorry, what? Did we just get Champions League or?"
I forgot we even signed him, Takai.
You know what?
But where is Takai?
He's not even playing for Mönchengladbach at the moment.
Mönchengladbach.
Because he's got this injury, this plantar fasciitis, which could kill his career. It's a long-standing problem he's got.
So how have we signed him then if he's got this?
How did he pass a medical with us knowing that he had that? Unbelievable, isn't it?
Can I tell you what I think is unbelievable?
It's
We signed the player with a career,
Guys, we are
career-ending injury.
we are in the
What?
relegation zone, right? After finishing 17th last year,
Oh.
we're 18th this year. We're now 3 managers on from Ange, and still I'm watching the chat and they're rowing about Ange v Frank. And you know when you think, guys, if we're not understanding the bigger problems at this fucking football club, what are we doing? It's so funny. Well, the biggest thing was sacking Ange. The biggest thing was Frank. What are we doing here? They both consistently lost with these players. What are we doing?
3 seasons now, it has been falling to shit. 3 seasons. After those 10 first games with Ange, it has gone off. It has gone downhill hard. And it hasn't improved.
Dan, there's 3 patterns I look for, right? And if these patterns aren't broken, I know what's going. I know where this goes, right? Pattern number 1: who are the first couple of players you sign in a window? That sets the tone, right? That's why I lost it when. Okay, the second pattern I look for is: did we get our main targets, or did we end up with plan C, D, E, F, or like? Did we get Eze? No. Did we get Morgan Gibbs White? Right. Yeah. That's the second. That's the second pattern. One more minute, Lubo. And the third pattern I look for is in January every year, round about beginning of December, we know what we need to do in January. Right? We know. Right? We already know what the problems are. On the first week, are we going to address the problems? And if we don't, that's the third pattern. So pattern 1, who do we sign first? Pattern 2. Do we get the main targets that we're apparently after? And pattern 3, do we address what we know in December, first week of January? Until those things change, nothing will change at this club. Nothing will ever change. I don't care what any fan says to me, because that's the same shit I see every single year. And it always ends up in tears. It always ends up in tears.
Still, if you look at the transfer window, number 1, we needed 8 players. This club never goes and buys 8 players, ever. Never ever goes and buys 8 players. Number 2, first.
Hold on. We signed 7 players in the summer.
Not to start. Not to go in and improve the first team. But when you say we signed 7,
you said we needed 8 players.
Hang on one second. Hang on. Davis was already at the club, right?
No. We gave him a new contract. We signed him again.
Right. We had an option on a contract. We took up the option.
Right, so that's 1.
We signed 6. We signed 6 in the summer.
Mate, if you're in the squad and you've got a new contract, that's a signing to me.
Tell was joining if he wanted. That was the obligation, was based on Tell saying yes.
Okay, but we agreed to that. We agreed to that contract, so that's a signing. We agreed to that.
Hang on. No, Tell agreed, but that was agreed in January. In terms of
there's two sides to an agreement, Lubo.
Frank came in. I was told he wanted a 6 and a 7. He got Paulinho and Kudus. Not for the 2 of them permanent, 1 permanent, 1 on a loan. After that, it all went pear-shaped. It just went pear-shaped. And the only 2 players that came in right at the death were replacements.
We signed 7 players, and we signed Davies, we signed Tell, we signed Kudus.
Right,
guys, we signed 6 new players and 1 contract extension. So, whichever way you look at it, it was shit. Right? Let's be brutally honest. For the first team, we signed 2 new players permanently. Right? One was Xavi, one was Kudus. Right? They were the only 2 that were signed permanently. So half the problem was, listen, I love Paulinho. But when you're buying him in on a year's loan, that tells me you ain't got a plane. That was nearly a sentence. It tells me you haven't got a plan.
That's not a project. That's not a project.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It tells you. No, hang on. But that's my point, Lubo. So in that summer, I 100% agree with Still. Ben Davis signs again. You go, nothing's changing here. Right? We need a new left back. Don't worry. We'll just have Ben Davis. Cool. Right? You bring in Takai, 5 million from Japan. You know he's never going to start in this first team. Pointless. You bring in Tell after a shit loan. That's Spurs. So we're 3 signings down, and I'm going, this is our summer. Then we bring in Kudus was the next one, wasn't he? Great signing. Yeah. Love Kudus. Really gutted that he's, really gutted that he got injured, right? Then you sign Paulinho, and that's great, but that's not long term, is it? So again, Spurs are not actually putting a plan together with a new manager. What we're doing is going, make do. That's great, but it doesn't matter. Again, if people can do this, I know this is really difficult. If you can separate Frank and separate all their names and whether you like them, it's still a new manager that's being given shit or not enough for a plan, right? So you've got Paulinho who's coming on a 1-year loan. Right, that's great. Then we panic and panic and panic, can't find a playmaker, so we buy Xavi Simons with 4 days to go in the transfer window. Then we get an injury.
As a replacement. Sorry, as a replacement for Maddison.
Of course, as a replacement for Maddison. So they wouldn't have done it if Maddison had been bought, hadn't gone down injured. And then, because Solanke gets injured, we bring in Mawani on loan again. So break that down, right? If you actually break down that summer transfer window, and this was the point when I try and say to people, did I like Frank? Yes. It's not the end of the world. I liked him. Some people don't. It's not this big drama. But when I wanted Frank to come in, I never, ever said I wanted Frank to come into this club and play with the exact same squad and keep buying poor footballers. What I said was, oh, good. They're bringing in Frank, who's a coach that takes time, develops over a number of years. Hopefully, we're going to get rid of Deadwood, bring in new players. We got rid of no Deadwood, right? Bought in 4 first-team players, 2 on loans, so they weren't even going to be here for... And this is why I go along with what Stel says now of, you know, I'm not saying it's the only thing you say, Stel, but, you know, does it matter who the fucking manager is? All the while, this is what we do in transfer windows. And that's why when Frank went, it wasn't that it was Frank that went, but that's why when he went, I just said, I don't care who you bring in as interim or the next manager now, because this window already, what are Spurs going to do? If we stay up, what are we going to give De Zerbi? We're already hearing there's not a lot of money, right? We're already after free transfers all over the place, right? You know that loads of these players will still be here next year. So all of these debates, and I've been part of it for years, but all of these debates I see in chats about Ange versus Frank versus Nuno versus Conte versus Jose versus Poch. What we're doing the same fucking pattern over and over and over again, and wondering then why can't we score goals? We can't score goals this year, not because of Frank, right? Not because of De Zerbi, not because of Tudor. We can't score goals this year because we got fucking shit players up top. This is the first time in over a decade we've had shit players up top. Unless anyone wants to make me wrong on that.
Yeah. We've usually had a class striker up there. I mean, still, I agree with what you said. I mean, you said there's 3 things that you look for to see that there's change, yeah? You said there's 3 things that you look for the change. There's certain things that you look at to see, is this club going to change? Is anything about it going to change, whether the players we bring in, whether we're going to back the manager, whether we're going to do this and that. There's certain points that you do look for. And it is, again, at that point where even at the start of the season, you could blatantly see as soon as they bought Tell and Davis that nothing was going to change. And then with what happened in the transfer window, you can say there were some all right players that we got in there. But again, did it really change anything with what Spurs do? And it is just that thing that you look at Spurs for change. You look at things because you want to see the change. I don't know how to put this. The easiest way the way I'd look at something, I used to go out and the first thing I used to examine was shoes, body, and a smile. You know, that's what I used to look for. You look at Spurs and nothing ever changes. It's always wearing high tech. It's always obese, and it always looks like it's done around with Tyson. Just nothing ever changes in that aspect. We are not getting no better. It just looks rough and ragged all the time. And people do try and be positive about it to say that things are changing, but then look at the situation we're in now. We are in a relegation state now because nothing has changed. Simple as that. And nothing is going to change under Enoch and that. And even if we get relegated, I get where you're coming from, but I don't think nothing will change. They might put the effort in to get us back up, and then they'll just be happy to keep us in 10th place, possibly. And I don't think nothing will change. Until this lot go, we are what we are.
And the problem also, Dan, is that each year that we have a bad transfer window, we're falling further behind the other clubs who are having good transfer windows.
Yeah.
And so we've been dropping back. We had 86 points 9 seasons ago. What are we going to have? So we're going to go from 86 to 36 in 9 years. Jesus, that's horrendous.
Well, Lubo, you saw the table I put up the other day of the last 100 games since, and that's since Lang joined, and it beggars belief that the only 2 clubs below us during that time in the Premier League is West Ham by 1 point, by the way. So if West Ham win on Monday night, we actually go down again on that table. The only other team is Wolves. The only other, so in the last in 3 calendar years, for 100 games is just under 3 seasons. Spurs are the 15th out. This is out of 17 of being ever present, right? In that 3 years, we are 15th out of 17 teams. It's true.
Has the Premiership only lost 3 teams over 3 years? Have they been like yo-yoing back and forwards?
Mostly, but we're the 15th worst. Whichever way you look at it, Lubo, we're the 15th worst, right? And it's been coming. Danny was right last year. It's been coming. It doesn't matter what we predict at the beginning of seasons. It doesn't matter if we think we're going to be 6th, 8th, 10th, 12th. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Right? It's been heading this way for years, and this is why I find it so funny when some of the micro arguments, Lubo, that I see. We always talk about micro and macro. Some of the micro arguments I see about a player or a signing, and you're like, fucking hell, this is so much bigger than one manager, one player, one sign. This is over the span of about 5 managers. This is 2 different CEOs, right? This is 2 different directors of football. This is about 50 footballers. This is for 3 years. This has just been going like that. Our goal difference is -9. This is going to be the 3rd year in a row we concede over 60 goals in a season. Like, it's been like this for a long time, but no one wants to.
But it hasn't been steady either, has it, Sava? It's been literally down. There's been no steady fall to it as such.
No.
Over the past 3 seasons, it has literally just been pushed off a cliff. Yeah.
But doesn't that tie in with Kane and then Son going?
Yeah, it does.
It's tied in with those two, right?
Maybe they did actually carry us more than some of us realised, me being one of them.
Yep. But this is what I don't understand. When I see some of these really funny micro arguments, it really makes me laugh. Like, somebody messaged me yesterday. I woke, you boys know this, having YouTube channels. When you wake up and you look at your YouTube comments and you think, oh God, let's see who slagged me off. And someone said, Sava, Frank's getting us relegated. So I messaged back and said, sure, but what about last season? We were 17th last year. So isn't this in keeping with last year? No, this is all Frank. I said, okay, so what about losing Maddison for the year and losing Son's goals and losing Kulu's goal? Like, none of that matters. No. And I was like, the next person was going, Sava, this was Ange. And I was like, hang on. This person over here thinks it's Ange. This person, it's neither of them. It's neither Ange or Frank. It's neither Paratici or Lang. It's all of these fuckers. All of them have been involved in this terrible shit show that we've seen coming for years. And by the way, right, we say that's 3 years, right? The year before that as well, we had a good half a season and a fucking dreadful second half a season. So this has been coming for 4 or 5 years, guys.
Yeah.
This has been coming for 4 or 5 years.
I can't believe in that January window, we were crying out for some kind of player or players that can put the ball in the back of the net, that we didn't sign a striker or a left winger or a right winger or another attacking mid, like absolutely nothing. And then we're in a situation now where the only reason we score is if Xavi Simons starts. It's just ridiculous.
We needed the striker.
It's ridiculous.
We needed a striker and a left wing. We had beginning of January. We had
Lubo. We just needed a goal scorer. Players that just know how to strike a ball.
We had Kudus Snowdebear so we're never going to buy a right winger, but we needed a left winger desperately, and we need.
Lubo, I just think.
Sorry.
Why wouldn't you get a right winger? Any other top club does. Why wouldn't we?
Because if you've got 2 right wingers and no left winger, you go and buy a left winger.
No,
Or maybe 2.
sure, but we needed a left winger and a right winger in January. Why wouldn't we get both?
What do we need? So hang on. I'm talking about at the beginning of the window. I'm talking about end of December. I'm not talking about during the window.
Nubo, this kind of, we need a left winger, we need a right winger. I just said,
I'm talking about the 4 months still between September and end of December, where we had 4 months to go and fill the gaps, arrange, organise, get the players set up to fill the gaps that we had in the squad. We needed another left back. We needed another left-footed centre back. We needed a left winger. We needed a striker. We needed a ball playing midfield player. We needed 5 players. We didn't get one. Not one. Not one. I don't consider Sousa as a replacement.
What a good signing that has. What was the point in bringing him in January?
Pointless.
And he's the first one left out of the squad, right? So what was the actual point in making that signing in January? No offense to him. I'm not blaming him. He's just a kid, right? But what was that? We were offered, in the last 2 days of the window, we were offered Moussa Diaby, John Duran, right? Lookman, we were offered the week before, and Akliouche, right? If I said to you today, instead of Mawani, you would have had Lookman, yeah? Instead of whoever, you would have had Akliouche. Instead of Solanke, you would have had John Duran. You would have all bitten my hand off, right?
All day long. But see, this. I've just looked at the league table. We are the 8th worst. 8th from bottom. So what's that? We're 12th in the league table. We're 12th in the league table, joint with two other teams. So you could say joint 14th if you want. The goals scored this year. We do not have players that can put the ball in the back of the net.
Shit.
And you know what? It's beginning to show, because only 2 teams in the league have won no games in their last 5. It's Tottenham and Burnley. We are now Burnley, not performance, but we are now Burnley results levels. I can't believe, like, even today, right? I'm not digging him out, but Archie Gray goes through 96 minute. We don't even have midfielders that can score. Back in the day, Dele Alli would score, Ericsson would score, Dembele would pop up with the odd goal. Even when Wanyama, remember that screamer when Wanyama scored
against Liverpool? Yeah.
Right. What midfielder have we got other than Xavi that can score goals? Maybe Paulinho if he plays. Our midfielders, Bergvall don't score, Gray don't score, Basuma never fucking scores. Bentancur doesn't score.
In the right system, Gallagher will score goals. In the right system, we've seen him do it for Palace and Chelsea. But
so far he hasn't scored. So you're looking at it.
Sure.
So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, right, if Xavi's the only one that scores in midfield, then we need to get some midfield goal scoring players, or you've got to get some front 3 players that can score. We didn't do any of that. We did nothing in January, and I just couldn't believe that. That's shocking. The one thing I couldn't get my head around.
You know what was a little bit delusional for some people, I think?
It's fucking insane. They thought Tell was going to come good, Dan.
At the start of the season,
was going to come good.
But at the start of the season, scoring goals wasn't so much of a problem. It's just, I don't think a lot of us looked at it in the aspect where the goals were coming from.
That's because Van de Ven, Romero,
but at the start, at the start, a lot of goals also came from dead ball situations.
Correct.
We're second highest in the league in that.
That's stopped, Dan. That's stopped.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was about to say.
We've completely dropped off on that, haven't we?
But we had a goal scoring problem from day one. It just didn't look as bad because we was getting goals.
Agreed.
Through dead ball situations.
What we were doing,
that made a few of us to almost turn a blind eye to it because goals were going in. It doesn't matter how they go in. Now we're not even getting the dead ball situation goals in there in the corners and whatever and that. It's now really shown that it really was no different to the start of the season. It's just at the start of the season we had dead ball goals.
Dan, we were 3rd in the table. I remember Carragher on Sky saying that we had an XG that was 17th. And he said, if this carries on, there is no way that Spurs can sustain it. And I think I saw one stat. I think we had 40 chances and we put away 20. and that's unsustainable. That was brilliant, and we were very clinical, but that was unsustainable, and it was always going to drop off. We won 4 out of the first 5. We got 1-4, drew 1 of the first 5 away games. That was always going to be unsustainable. You just can't keep that up, particularly with an XG that was 17.
No, but Ian, it made a lot of people not notice that we weren't scoring goals, because we were scoring goals, but there was a lot of them off the dead ball, so they're going in. Now the dead ball ones ain't there. We're absolutely no different to what we were at the start of the season, but we just ain't scoring the corners and that now. We're no better at scoring in open play than we were at the start of the season. It just looked better because we had corners going in.
Correct. I saw a stat. I saw a stat about a month ago that we had taken 74 long throws and not scored from one of them. I don't know why they're still doing it.
But the thing is, Lubo, you know, when you're watching when you're watching the game on Sky, whatever, it brings up the graphic every time there's a corner. I'm sure you guys see it, right? It says teams who have scored the most goals from set pieces, right? And we've been stuck on 14 for about 15 games. So we're not even scoring from set pieces.
At Christmas, I think we were second behind Arsenal for dead ball goals.
But the thing that is crazy is, and again, we can have the whole argument again without making this full circle. We can have the whole argument about how good or bad Xavi Simons has been, but let it sink in. For however good or bad he's been, he's still created far superior number of chances to anybody else, because no one else in our team creates chances, right? Last year you had, and this is why I keep saying to people, when people keep saying to me, this squad last year, this wasn't the same squad last year. Last year, Maddison, Kulu and Son all create a bucket load of chances, whatever you think of them. Kulu annoys me, by the way. I think he's a good player, but he annoys me.
And Solanke.
Yeah. But Solanke's still here. I'm using people that aren't available this year. When you take that 3 away, you had to replace it. You simply had to replace it, right? And we didn't. Right. And now the only person who can create in this entire team is Xavi Simons. Right. None of our strikers can create. You know those types of strikers where they can create out of nothing for themselves. Right. Defoe could do it. Right. Robbie Keane could do it. You know, Kane, something we could talk about all that. None of our strikers now, Richie, Solanke, none of them are capable of getting the ball 25 yards out, wriggling through a few players and slotting one in the bottom corner, are they? None of them are. They're not that type. They need it put on a plate for them, and that's all well and good. But to that, you need people who can put it on a plate for them. And Kuda's being injured; he's the only one that could. Simmons is the one that's been left out. So, is it any wonder why we don't score many goals? It's not rocket science for me, guys. Yeah. We don't have ball play. If you don't have wingers, you don't have creative midfielders, and you don't have goal scorers, you're gonna be shit. You're gonna be shit. That just seems obvious to me, guys. I don't know. It just seems obvious.
We're such a shit football club. It's unbelievable. Honestly, everything. You know what? Let's wrap it up. We're going on for 2 hours and 40 minutes. We've got a week to get over. Well, we actually know we're all going to be watching Forest and West Ham the next couple of days and seeing what they do. If they both win, I think it's full-blown panic stations everywhere, if it isn't already. Guys in the chat, thank you as always for watching and tuning in. Make sure you also tune in to Dan, Hotspur Hood, Sava, the Football Heritage. OK Jersey down below, code 5, FIVE for 8% off all your merch. Make sure you go and do whatever you need to do there. We'll be back on Monday, Lubo. We'll be back on Monday?
Yeah, Monday nights. Yep.
Monday night.
Sean will be back as well.
And all go and follow Simon Sheffield because he seems like a really nice chap. All go and follow him. He's very nice. Go and follow him. Hello, Simon. How are you? Savvy, you clown. Sheffield.
Do you know, I was posting on my YouTube platform during the game, like my thoughts as we're going along. Just getting hate. At the end, we draw like silence. No, nobody will.
It doesn't. The thing is, still, what I've realised over the years with YouTube, it doesn't matter anything you say. people can't seem to just respond in a normal manner. Like people can't respond in a normal manner. Lubo, we had this chat the other day, didn't we? If I turn around and go, oh, De Zerbi, somebody has to go, yeah, but with Ange, you know, no, hang on, that's not the conversation. This isn't a normal path of a conversation style. Oh, I don't rate Richie. Yeah, but when we add Berbatov, no, this isn't. No, I'm talking.
It's too political. That's the thing these days. Everything is too political. And Spurs, we have got to be. I've been doing this 3 years now. Done shows with other people, with other supporters, and everything. I think the fan base that we have got in so many ways is one of the, I'll say it straight, is one of the most fucked up fan bases out there in football in so many different ways. Like I say, we are cut up in more ways in more apes than a bloody ounce. We're so bloody divided, it is unreal. They cannot agree on anything in a majority, come love nor money. There is so much ignorance and neglect to the club in so many ways. That even down to the point that people will go and get smashed in a game, we'll go and lose a game, and they'll stand there and have a beer outside and buy another 200 beers there with their mates and speak about the next game will be better, don't worry about it. Even down to the point that we'll probably be relegated and still say, don't worry, we'll probably get brought back up next season. This fan base as a whole we've got, it is so, it's just so politically.
We do agree on one
up.
thing though. We are united on one thing as a fan base. We do agree that we agree on nothing.
Yeah, we agree to disagree.
And do you know
no,
what?
we don't agree to disagree. That's the problem.
We don't agree to disagree.
When we no longer as a fan base talk about Ange, I'm really looking forward to if we can ever get to a stage where every comment section of every show isn't about Ange fucking Postecoglou. Like we're on the third manager since Ange, and still every single answer to every time Spurs don't win a game or any player missing a penalty or any is Ange. Like, fuck my life. Like, it is draining, emotionally and mentally draining.
He had to get brought into it and weighed up next to it to Thomas Frank. Why? Because you've got to compare Thomas Frank to something to say whether he was improving or not, and that was Ange. Thomas Frank's now out the window. So the next manager no, I know that. But so Ange is totally out the window now for me. You now compare the next manager to Tudor, where he was here for 6 games or where, and what De
Zerbi might only be here for 6 games as well. So.
Exactly. And if De Zerbi goes, then you wait. To me, you always compare it to the last manager, basically. Yeah. And then you look at the long run. But we're at that point now where that one's well out and done and dusted and finished and that. And people are still having massive rows out of it.
In terms of the fan base, I think when you've got a club that's regularly underachieving, people are negative and people are looking at reasons why we're not doing as well as we should be. And that's where all the different opinions come in and people find different elements, different people to blame. Sorry, fans find different people to blame, and that's where you get the split. If we were more successful, you know, if we were winning trophies, even if we'd have won 5, 6, 7 in the last 25 years, it wouldn't be like this.
No, do you know what I think the biggest problem has been on the fan side? I mean, people talk about toxic negative and everything. I think toxic positive has been more the problem at Spurs, because I think there's nothing wrong with having a bit of hope and being a bit positive, but if you're too positive and you don't address your problem's only going to get worse. Alex Ferguson, when Man U would win a game 4-1, first thing he'd do was drag the players out and scream at them for conceding that goal, not the 4-1 win, because he'd look at the point that needs to improve. I don't need to sort out that lot. We just banged in 4 goals. You defence, what were you doing letting them score that goal? But people say that's a toxic way to do it. That's a stupid way to do it. One of the best managers in the world used to do it like that. I think a lot of our fans have been so positive that it's caused problems. No, there's no problems at Spurs. It's all going to change. This isn't a problem. That isn't a problem.
Dan,
no, we don't have to do protests. We don't have to do this and that. You know, just everything's like.
I actually think, Dan, I actually think, not just in football, people that constantly call everyone else negative, those people create the most negativity out of everyone. They don't realise it. then they fuel like this hatred divide. But anyway, look, let's end it because the chat is turning negative.
I knew if I mentioned that still that it would just, I knew exactly who it would trigger as well, right? What I love is, by the way, my favorite thing is people who don't have a YouTube channel telling people like me how to run a YouTube channel. And if you don't like this, don't run a YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, I'm going to say this. Go fuck yourselves. Start a YouTube channel. Get to 25,000 subscribers. Then come back and talk to me. Other than that, just stop. Much love to all of you.
Talk to us about all the love you get. Listen, I'm going to end it on a positive. I'm going to end it. Yeah, Luba, did you want to say something?
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't lose today.
We didn't lose today.
Yay!
We didn't lose today. I'm gonna end it on the mother of positives before we go. So good night to everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll leave you with this positive. Man City, they're gonna smash Arsenal. Bring it on.
Brilliant.